Welcome, Alex Ansary here. Today's date is April 25th in the year 2024. Welcome. We're going to be here for 1 or 2 hours discussing some of the latest developments taking place on the globe. We have some Tangerine Dream playing in the background. While I'm not in Portland, Oregon, I care about Portland, Oregon, but I'm being honest with you when I talk about my life story and why I feel that Portland, Oregon doesn't care about me. Just understand. If I was being assisted right now as far as getting the information out, there would be a lot more podcasts that would be very, very niche and specific to Portland, Oregon. But these podcasts and videos and borderline amateur documentaries that I can throw together like that, whereas back in the day, these things would obviously take time. It would obviously also be a lot more touchy, if you will, on YouTube using copyrighted content. Now you can say that we're in a reality where, it's very easy for people to get video editing software, to watch videos for free without paying for them, and to basically just sit there in some sort of like zombie, like trance-like state, and to not actually participate when you should participate and not just be passively watching life go by. And so I am disappointed. However, if we did choose to come here, I chose to come to this reality in order to educate this reality so that some souls maybe have a chance of not getting recycled back into this type of reality. But it is clear to me that we, the humanoids alive today on the earth, are under some form of high-tech mind control weaponry of some kind. Side note, real brief, I am willing to invest in several higher quality webcams. I'm trying to improve the overall quality, but I'm not yet satisfied with my video production, and webcams aren't expensive. I'm using a 10-year-old Logitech. If there's something like cutting edge that I should be using other than the laptop and the Logitech webcam, let me know. Okay, this is one extender I have for USBs. Couple movies I'm watching. Looks like Avatar: The Way of Water is something that I'll consider watching soon. This looks like this is the second one. And then we have, of course, one of my all-time favorite films, Rambo 3. And then we have a very interesting book that I got up early this morning and started to read at about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, the normal time that I wake up. And usually I'll go for a drive or go for a walk or do some exercises. Energies are distracting. Check 1, 2. The book that I'm reading is kind of helping me get back on track to understanding that we can be duped by our sexual senses, our loins. All right, so we'll talk about that. This is, though, a new cup of coffee that I'm having from Bear Organics. This is not a commercial. Ashwagandha ginkgo lion's mane. Mind-boosting and concentration. Unique adaptogen blend. Earthly brew with nutty aroma. Okay? So that is what I am having today. It is on my mind that I need to get back into my writing project, which is advice for today and tomorrow's true speaker, whether you're white or ethnic, really, in the day and age of the paranormal attacks. And then observing somebody else, Gypsy, who has his own YouTube channel. He's discussing paranormal attacks in the mountain range area, so intense at times that he finds himself driven back to regular society. Okay? So he finds himself in a reality that he would prefer to not be in. But due to the reality of the situation and that he put a lot of money into the court system, which is corrupt, but a lot of people have trust in this court system, but there's really no rational reason why they should. So he's talking about the paranormal effect of going up into the mountains and, having things happen to him. And so there are people out there that view the woods, for example, as some sort of like reality or place that is free of certain, interferences. When in reality, when you get away from people and you get away from love and you get away from civilization and you get away from spiritual people, while you can cleanse yourself, if you will, of negativity and entities, once you are alone, however, you by yourself, alone, okay? And I know a little bit about this, and you're in the woods. You can be observed. If you're on the internet and you're talking about things of a certain nature, okay, and you're on the internet, well, they know where you are. They can zoom in. They can zone in the entities on the internet through the people also that are monitoring, stalking, XYZ interference behavior. The humans on the ground in reality are playing host. And they think this is funny. They think this is schizophrenic to really have an advanced understanding of what these dark ETs are doing. So when you go to places like Colorado and you go off grid, sure, you'll come across people that have heard about Chris O'Brien and the books that he wrote, Mysterious Valley, Enter the Valley, things of this nature. They'll know about that, but they won't really have a deep, what is really going on here? Discussion. As to what is really going on with our society, these wars, genocide, corruption, brutality, hatred, propaganda, wars without end, wars that go on and on and on and on and on. Are we getting closer? See, it's not typical for a man of this intelligence to have to be a jack of all trades. Literally, to do the editing, the dishwashing. Hi, how are you? I'm Alex. Would you care to sit in the smoking section or the non-smoking section? Do you want the color coding to be on the lighter side or the darker side? Does it friggin' matter? I can show you a countless number of programs that have been created over time that are stellar, with all types of guests. But it just really isn't good enough. It just really isn't good enough for today's zombie. And so, basically, it becomes almost like a secret society, but it's out in the open. What do you mean, Alex? Well, it's like only the actual intelligent will get the understanding of what I am saying. I can put it out there in the open, but only the truly intelligent and only those that are truly aspiring to be actually conscious and loving shall pass from one blog page to the next blog page. Only the intelligent shall pass and get the deeper gnosis. I understand why some people are drawn to some people sexually, but they're not drawn to them intellectually because they're at a primitive ooga booga level. They're at a ooga booga level to where they can be drawn to somebody's sexual fluids. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble. But not the actual soul essence of said person. So, sex, in fact, when done correctly and with the right person, When you love someone and they want to be loved and they haven't put up barriers to be loved, some women put up barriers to be loved, and so as a result of that, they don't get, if they actually do desire it, the what's called romantic sex. So if we talk about a subject F or people like that have an inability to achieve O unless they have it a certain way or with multiple partners, and multiple partners doesn't necessarily mean at the same time. Multiple partners means like, I'm with Steve on Saturday, and next week maybe I won't be with Jeff, but I'll be with Todd because, I feel spiritual that week and I feel like wearing green. But no, that's not really spiritual. That's the deception. People think that's spiritual to have a choice and go from lollipop, oh lolly, lollipop, but it's not normal to not want to reel in your insane behaviors when you're breaking hearts left and right. So, while I don't really see myself doing MGTOW content per se, self-help content for humanoids that are sexual, that don't want to become entrapped by the matrix and the dark feminine and aspects of the dark masculine or evil men that are too cowardly to metaphorically and literally be in the same ring as me. But really, we're focused not on MMA or Kumite. Okay, in this lifetime, we are focused. I am focused on being number one in my weight class, in my division, in my area of expertise, in this body, a rare combination of genetics in which I remain unchallenged on a planet of 8 billion. And maybe there will be a half this, half that, half this, half that, maybe emerging in the future that will go, no, Alex Ansary, I'm here to challenge your earthly reign as the only man of the combination of genetics that, and you're so intelligent, you're so equipped, you're so together in your understanding of what's taking place that you alienate these lower level dog shit conspiracy theorists that can't handle the frequency of your light. And that is the true sad state of affairs, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? It's an allergy to the light frequency and consciousness. Now, having said that, I'm glad to have found my journal. This is my journal. And there's a lot of thoughts that I've had in recent days. But yes, I'm feeling strongly that I should be pulling back from the Portland Access show beyond the summer, but continue to report on Portland events as it fits into this global picture, talking about Portland more than other places because I know it well, but not truly in my heart thinking that it's a brilliant plan of action or use of my limited resources to go to Portland, Oregon in search of healing the past. The past is the past. Focusing on old girlfriends, old cable channels that I was on in the past, old strip clubs that I used to go to, old websites that I used to meet women on, Craigslist, the past. Because I refuse to take the chip, metaphorically so to speak, into the Twitter matrix, Tinder matrix. What those of you are doing now that is considered normal to you and for you at present is normal. To you in your life, it is normal. To you, it is normal. Okay? Not to me. Okay? Now, I should be able to show my light and intelligence to random people in a platonic setting and have senior citizens come to my meetup like in old Portland, and it for not to be a weird thing for me to be an intelligent man. I shouldn't be getting weird looks at the grocery store now from some employees because they've seen me talk to an author. You heard the interview weeks ago. Now I've doxed myself as a man of light. as an author, as a person who knows something about something, who was on Coast to Coast speaking out in the open. Hi, my name is Alex. I was on Coast to Coast several weeks ago, just speaking out into the air at anyone that can hear and understand the English language and decode, what does this word mean? I was on Coast to Coast. My name's Alex. How do we decode this like we're intelligent or something? What is this Coast to Coast? I'm just so, and folks, that's pretty brilliant. That's pretty amazing. When you're living in this Truman Show reality that I'm in, and you walk around the modern America, and you're like, have you heard of Coast to Coast? You're like, ho, ho, ho? Have you heard of Coast to Coast? Who? Have you heard of Coast to Coast? Would you want to? I don't want to hear about that yet. It's like, folks, you can't fabricate this timeline. Okay? So, we really are living in a Truman Show. I am here, human here. You are here. I think you're here. But it's possible that none of you are here. And I just hit record and nobody showed up. And I just talked to myself. And I'm dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. September 2023. Yours truly said the following. Here, let's just read today. Do we have to cover the news? Look, I said we'll cover the Magnificent Seven. So we will cover news. We will cover Unrest in the path of totality, as is being reported all over Twitter. We have not looked at the daily news. We don't look at daily news to ruin our day, do we now? Unless the world is literally blowing up. Look, is the world blowing up? Let's go here to the... No. Just anti-Semitism, 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 Islamophobia, anti-Semitism. All right. I have continued to have a great deal of insights. Russia threatening America, China threatening America, be afraid. Look. Let me tell you something, sunshine. America's not waking up when you see these headlines. Russia and China. That's all just prepping us for the Donald or someone else to come in and save the day. And I'm not really sensing a bunch of like Donald Trump, like Kool-Aid drinking behavior or energy at present like I sensed in the past. So you get a sticker. However, right, the day is still young. The really hardcore false flags haven't begun yet. We're talking about the boom, 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 boom. ISIS takes responsibility. It's my ass. Don't you find it just a little bit odd that there was the Egyptian god Isis that was like associated with like spirituality and stuff? For those of you that are outside the box of Catholicism and Orthodox Islam and Christianity, you know what I'm saying? Kind of odd, right? And they're just like, they use these words from the ancient world, from the ancient gods or goddesses or entities. And then you have Shekinah campaign, 2003, Iraq being bombed and being freed with weapons of mass destruction from the West, but they're love bombs, they're love taps. Boom, 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 Shekinah. Shake that ass. Watch yourself. Show me what you're working with. And then we have the emergence of ISIS come out, which has been used to demonize the Middle Eastern world, but ISIS is not organic of Middle Eastern people, and Americans know it. They're willing to go, that's of Obama. Even Trump said it, that's of Obama. Well, if that's of Obama, and Obama's of the New World Order, which was the plot line from the InfoWars documentaries of the time, the Obama deception. I was all on board. I was megaphoning about Obama, literally in the streets of Portland, Oregon, looking like a jackass, looking like a mind control victim of Alex Jones. There were people in Portland, Oregon that thought that I was damaged. They wrote blogs about me at one point going, we've got to get this Ansary guy to stop listening to Alex Jones. There's just something not quite right with him. If only he would just stop listening to Alex Jones, he might turn out okay. Well, eventually that wish turned into a reality. And I did turn out okay. But other people were like, oh, why'd you stop listening to Daddy? Daddy. It's like, no, I'm your daddy now. No, you don't need a daddy. You need freedom, folks. You need freedom. You need to stop wallowing in like shit, like a pig. You need to stop living like a pig. You need to stop thinking like a pig. You need to... It's nonsense. You need to believe in yourself. You need to say, like those boys said in Lean On Me, the movie, under duress from that abusive principle. I am somebody. I want you to do that for me. Can you do that for me right now? Come on, Sarah. Step down from the strip pole. You've got enough money for enough blow. Just imagine for a minute. I am, say it with me, honey. I am against human trafficking of, don't be nervous, don't worry, Satan's not listening. You can do it. It'll be our little secret. We'll pretend it's some sort of sexual encounter and we're being kinky or something. Say it with me now. I am against human trafficking of women. There you go. That wasn't so hard now. Now, can you send an email? Send an email, little Sarah. I am supporting what you're doing, Alex. There you go. Gold sticker. Now, acts that you have the sentiment that you'd support me exposing human trafficking. Don't you act like you're on my side. Don't you act like we're in some sort of a team. And don't you act for a second when you can't even for a second do something more than fellatio, some of you, and you know who you are. Subject F H G I J K L M O P. So, if this is a simulation, this is one hell of a simulation. Boy, they got this shit down. Some of you actually appeal real to me. Like, well, maybe they might actually love me if I give it to them really good. Oh, no, bro. They're just there for the loosh. It's like we are one big, giant loosh factory for aliens. And they're just sitting there just, And they love to sometimes come right in, near, and ride the train of a real man, because, earth and stuff. Earth men and women. Earth and stuff. Loosh. It's not really love to come on, ride that train and ride it. Woo-hoo. It's more of this, monkey dance behavior. You gotta love the one you're with and love the children that come out of your ass once you do the nasty. Not now go to the dentist, now not go to school and impress us by the grades of said school while acting like you're some sort of New Age, Islamic, Christian, Catholic. I'm not speaking to one of you. I'm speaking potentially to billions of you. Now that we're all warmed up with the toot as we cross the freeway, as we literally jump up and we go into oncoming traffic, megaphoning and filming. We need an animation of that one. It's time for more coffee. Miss, please, chop. I have continued to have a great deal of insights and experiences, but it's hard to write. The day of the geometric storm, a dog was off its leash and was coming after a woman and her dog. She regularly walks by the house. She was calling for help when I drove by her. Okay. Ooh, hey, oh, hey. We want award-winning video production, folks. And we're not in full-on HD max, but, we need hard drives. We need new USB mics. We need ideas for things that are USB to plug into the hole here. Plug it in the hole. We gotta get some extra XLR inputs, so we can be like the other jerk-offs on YouTube with our sound effects and stuff. And our Hollywood quotes. I should have a soundboard here, preloaded, so I don't have to think, where each one is preloaded. Okay, because we need to make it to the big time. Okay, I deserve to have a penthouse in New York City. Okay, I'm not above sleeping in filthy places, but a sensitive man like me needs to protect his consciousness from areas, people, places, and things where there is no sign of consciousness in those environments. And so if you're going to travel somewhere and somebody's like, this place is so great, the Italian food is so awesome, it's so awesome, and then there's Chinese food and it's good too, and then you look at the news and it's like, woman beat up on side of the street, horror, and then you're like, oh, criminals walking around just doink doink, and you're like, why would you say come to this place? Oh, that's happening to them though, I'm fine, everything is fine in my life as long as I'm not being harmed, we're still ascending and stuff. It's like, folks, some of you that are female, even if you're elderly, you still haven't shown me that your heart chakra is opening up and that you have sympathy and empathy for other women, even of your own heritage. Does this make sense? Am I going too fast? I need you to open up your heart more than you need to know about the news. Oh, we'll get to that once we cross a certain threshold of time and we get warmed up and, ooh, you're thinking and stuff and you're feeling, because you need to start feeling. Way too many of you have been looking the other way at what they're doing to your fellow countrymen, and that's your problem. You're thinking, oh, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. Oh, I'm not to blame. Oh, it's look at how those people survived in Lord of the Rings or some old movie. They're a part of a village. It takes a village. We're not a village anymore. White people hate white people, but they don't admit they're so anti-white. But if you're not white and you're criticizing white people, leftist, right-wing, you're anti-white. But if you're white and you're right-wing and you are all about tribalism, you're not anti-white. You're just criticizing the libtards. You're just against the Nazis. But are you sure they're Nazis just because they're concerned? Oh, they're Nazis. They're Nazis, all right. Punch them. Oh, they're snowflakes, all right. They're into critical race theory, all right. They're anti-white, all right. See, you don't take acknowledgement for your real anti-white sentiment as white people, and it will be brought up. I don't like walking into places and feeling like I got to put on the they live glasses and see the reality that they're projecting to me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not the right heritage. You're saying you're being invaded, and yes, at the southern border and in pockets and certain U.S. states, you are absolutely being invaded, and you are being replaced, white man. But then you go to other places in America where I have lived and have lived most of my life, and that is not happening on the smallest level. No, on a collective level in America, you're not being replaced, but there are certain districts and zones in America where these people are stacking and stacking and stacking themselves. And it does seem to fit into almost a deliberate ethno-state shadow government plotline, actually, if you want my honest opinion. If you want my honest opinion, and you don't want me to be dishonest and talking out of my wazoo, they are literally filling up this place beyond what it can handle in order to cause a backlash. And once the false flags begin, you know what happens when that happens, to quote the intro scene from Jewel of the Nile. It's the end of Mr. Lucky. Jewel of the Nile, if you are looking for the origin story of Alex Ansary, before the Alex Ansary story is made, watch Jewel of the Nile. I hope that makes my dear mother laugh, as we did see that in downtown Seattle in 1985. And a close friend of mine online said, Jewel of the Nile? That's your origin story, buddy. It's funny stuff. Would love to play some music, but this channel is now monetized, just so you know. And so there is the potential that after 20 years of working very hard, that maybe I can earn up to, possibly, if I play my cards right, $20 a month. Don't congratulate me yet. Don't congratulate me yet with because you got to make that $100 every month or you don't get paid. So it's possible. So just understand, I was right to tell you that we, the truthers, the real truthers, are being starved out into extinction and non-existence. We're even being bred out of existence. Authentic truthers, authentic spiritual people. You could even say authentic supermen of a spiritual nature, those that have the God seed in their semen and egg. You know what I'm talking about? People that have like a actual provable genetic lineage of like being spiritual and stuff, as opposed to like mystery people and whatnot that you know nothing about, that society says are the spiritual ones. Because they've got the money, they've got the cars, they've got the Tesla, Tesla, they've got the iPhone, they've got the stocks, they've got the bonds, they've got the this, they've got the that, they've got the this, they've got the that. And see, I created my own YouTube channel separate from this just for locals, but you got to pass a litmus test. You can't be expecting me to be in a suit with a nice microphone, to have hits and clicks, and to see men and women talking to me going, that guy, he's so cool, he's our man, if he can't do it, no one can. See, a lot of people are in that alien, reptilian, Nephilim, Anunnaki, looking for the giant savior, be they a little girl looking for a man that they're not even old enough to have sex with, or be it a guy who's looking for a little girl because he's trying to play out also that daddy program, call me daddy. Like, don't deny the tampering that is within our genetic code, and don't hate me because I'm abnormally intelligent for, I wouldn't call it hating on your kink, but saying, honey, you can have your kink and eat it too. You can have your kink and be free of slavery too, if you apply your consciousness, if you want to be free. If you want to be free, you can have your kink and eat it, meaning you don't actually have to be with bad men that are Johnny come lately do nothings, that do nothing but just give you rent, pay for your rent and your housing, and basically pump you full of you know what, so that you have some children, right? When are you actually going to start bearing children with men that are demonstratively exposing the evil draconian system of this world without defaulting into right-wing echo chambers and shit? The Mount Walshes of the world, the Ben Shapiros of the world, although I don't know that we've seen him with the woman. But just because you haven't seen me with the woman isn't because I haven't been seen with the woman. It's because of what? It's because what? It's because what? It's because this. Subject F, you expletive. Expletive. When have you ever subject F? And I'm fine if I never speak to you for the rest of my life. When have you ever subject F of the region of my birth, subject F, ever voluntarily had yourself photographed with me just for your own memories and for your own shits and giggles as I get a refill of coffee? Just think about that question. And is this an irrational question? Is this an irrational question? And, you know, I want to be nice to my mom, but to be all quite frank, when I saw her holding up dear old David Nagel, she looks a little too happy compared to, you know, smiles with me. But that could just be, you know, maybe she was picking up on the fact that was a spiritual little boy, at least when he was little. He knows what happened when he was older. He doesn't. The point is, let's go back to subject F. Not the first female to harm me, but who harmed and abandoned me similar to those that came before her. It was as if they were reading a script, if this makes sense to you. So I have every intention of doing basically a reading of this, just so you know, and it's going to go on for many, many hours, and maybe I shouldn't even be on camera or put myself in the box with just the picture of the alien. Not that I want you focused on the alien or the gray, but maybe focused on cosmically what's going on. Now, think. Okay? We're going to come back to it later. I'm not a big fan of David Icke, but David Icke will kick out. It's not so much the enemy of the enemy as my friend. It's that when you see David Icke wake up, at least, or so he appears to the Musk deception, and for the reason he continues to talk to Jones, why I don't know, but we won't scream conspiracy every time if we don't have evidence. He may have his reasons. They are what they are. So understand, David Icke's not happy with Musk, the Neuralink agenda, okay? And he is talking about Musk's Starlink, just so you know, which I don't trust. Check this out. Oppenheimer Ranch, Reverse Magnetic Reversal News in Bagosa, right, and others. Check this out. Are you paying attention? Because y'all tuned out by now. Y'all are just screwed. Y'all are just screwed. You tuned out the wrong point. Now is where the broadcast is getting deep. David Icke is saying that the Starlink thing from Musk, which is like giving internet to the whole world, he's playing both sides as the U.S. and Russia have a war in Ukraine. He's saying that these Starlink satellites are weakening the Earth's magnetic field. There. Now, what does that mean? If he is a part of an alien agenda, as I alleged years ago, and Musk is weakening the Earth's magnetic field for them, wow. Wow, let me just let that sink in. Om Mani Padra. By the way, are any of you into the Sanskrit, the Om Mani Padra that are viewers of my program? Are any of you chanters that would like to just talk to me about spirituality and meditation via email, right? You're welcome to contact me also, even if you see me as a fast-talking space alien hooligan of sorts. Okay, let's go back to the journal. Okay. We will cover news, folks, but I'm not going to let the news traumatize you or me. But last night I sat down on Twitter and I went, oh my God, reshare. Oh my God, reshare. So we'll get there. So the woman was calling for help when I drove by her, and I stopped and asked if I needed a mace the other dog, and she said yes. So I did, and the problem was over. What is there a reason that dog attacked her, or maybe was going to? This is before the eclipse by a month. It is interesting that I was driving by at the exact moment that she needed me. I was already psychically tapping into her energy, as I'm conscious of the fact that she regularly walks by where I live. What is the universe trying to tell me or show me? Also, when the geomagnetic storm was occurring overnight, I woke up and looked at the clock. It was 2:25. This was written before I decided to come back to the internet, or before I did come back, but I did pray for, I guess, the strength. I was under the perception, just to remind some of you, that I wasn't allowed to come back, that some of you hated me so much that you were going to destroy my life. Now, you can call that mental illness, but there's reasons why I believe that there was a logical, not illogical, assessment for at least a period of time until the spell lifted. Can you hear me now? I was under the perception that we were under a collective spell, and I don't just mean you. I've alluded to aspects of my own psyche, even though I was awake, that was not in my best state. I've admitted to you, even though some people would say you don't ever do that I felt that I should become less psychic for a period of time, and took a destructive substance that was free and legal, an unlimited supply, in fact, until I became conscious enough that I allowed the system to poison me. And there's very few people that you're ever going to know that were lifelong truthers for 15 years, 20 years, that didn't take the advice of Alan Watt and others, that allowed themselves to be harmed by the system because they were so harmed by, get this, conspiracy theorists. Folks, you can't fabricate this timeline, okay? Because I'm not going to quote that guy if he's not actually going to be my friend, okay? Now, if you ever hear about that guy saying something positive about me, which he did on the air in the past, Mr. Band.video, then you know how to reach me, don't you? SourceForm333 at proton.me. And he knows himself how to reach me. At any point in time, he, Clyde Lewis, George Norrie, Lisa Lyon, Tom Danheiser, any of these human beings. So I'm led to believe. Anytime they want to ring my bell, they can ring my bell. And they can call me up at 801. The number's at Substack. Okay. Again, 2025, going back to my journal, keeps coming at me with 225 coming up a lot. Last night, I spent 2 to 3 hours reading from a book on demonology. It's right behind me. It's great. Why did I wait 10 years to read this book? Should I read this book when I'm out in public? I made a video in 2014 when I recorded the sound of many birds or crows when I opened up the book and flipped through the pages at Laurelhurst Park in Portland, Oregon. Maybe we have to be at a certain level of knowledge and life experience to make sense out of such books, including Dion Fortune's Magical Battle of Britain. If you'd like a copy, let me know, but I don't expect you to understand it right away. Although sometimes I think people in 2024 should be at my level if they're contacting me, but that's not realistic. People have to start at a certain level, and it takes months or years for, if this is new info for you, for this info. So it may take months to years to understand the power of the sun. So a special thank you to those of you that were hip enough that did realize that someone lit themselves on fire that was so emotional over the Trump trial, or the perception that it was a rigged trial, which I'm of the perception of. Now, to be honest with you, I don't believe that suicide is the way to go, but I know why people are killing themselves. And I know, don't ask me how I know. Okay, you can. See me after class. If you want to do a one-on-one with me in the future, when the time is right, I'm willing to do that, but I'm not very trusting of people in a one-on-one scenario also. To talk with one-on-one, to even hear their audio voicemail, unless I actually know that they are decent folks. But if you look at the people that are out there right now in the trauma field, PTSD field, CPTSD field, domestic violence recovery field, mental health field, in some cases you have perps or perpetrators in these institutions. Even people that allow people to be left in the streets for dead that are good people have been hired in places like Clackamas County, Oregon. Shout out to Miss Sully. Holla! Holla. Holla. Y'all come back now, you hear? Oh, you Oregonians are just something else. They don't say that no more. Y'all come back now, you hear? That's not really an Oregon thing. But they did have a sign a long time ago. Welcome to Oregon. Enjoy your visit, but please don't stay. But see, what the Oregonians weren't honest about, was that they were saying that to the children of immigrants that they welcomed into Oregon with open arms, as they rode the pony, as they fucked people like my dad, the women of Portland in the 1970s and 80s, and slurped upon him and his penis as he bragged 70 or 80 women did, right? Did they ever think about the child that he brought into this world and what he would say about their freedoms and standing against? No, not a single one of them that slurped upon the penis of thy father, of Alex Ansary, is even thinking about his child at all. And I'm to believe that the world's problems is all about the patriarchy and men, let alone brown men, when I see the true air of your ways from a psychic telepath perspective in a manner that none of your self-described psychics will. Not Ramtha, not James Gillen, the people that are basically the people with the wealth, with the land, with the shit, with the stuff, are nothing to me in reality and are sins before the Creator. So, who's the real provider of this land, of the cult leaders, of the groupies, of the sex partners, of the drinks, of the money, of the trips to, be it Canada, Europe, Hawaii, the Alps, right? I remember some former, she got away from me real quick, former fan. And then she couldn't handle the criticism of Mr. Kevin Trudeau. You can have anything you want. Kevin Trudeau. The secret. Oh, that's what Alex needs. You just need to believe. You just haven't believed yet. No, you, woman, just don't understand suppression. Because if you did, you never would have voted for you-know-who ever in 2016 and joined that club if you understood oppression and oppression of third world people. If you had compassion for those people, you went 1 second out of the fucking day abated my ass for him. Don't you think that I find that complimentary? See, women in our current incarnation are nuts, with very little exception. The ones that aren't generally nuts are less than 1% of the population. Go ahead and unsubscribe now. You're not wanted here. You need to evolve your consciousness to have a Superman race of humans that are not going to put you into a cage and sell you for candy bars, which you need, woman. So sit down and shut up and listen to a real man try to save you from the kidnappers of the world until you can show me through comic books, art, dance, photography, porno, documentary that you're also in the fight for women's freedom. Don't you act like you're a real feminist. I am a person that is authentic, that cares about freeing men and women. A lot of you are nothing but counterfeits. That's all you've ever been. That's all you've ever done. And that's all you're ever going to be. And you're a threat to us. You are a threat to us. I don't know if you're watching now. I don't know if you're watching the future. But those of you that don't want this subject discussed, as to the real plight that men and women are in, are garbly goo. You think you can just get away with just aborting us? the souls that came to Earth to live and flushing us down the toilet or destroying us with your bombs and acting like you're so woke, you're so compassionate, you're so loving. No, you're dog shit. And I've been infected with the love bite for constantly, even in the dark of night, thinking about her. Whether it be Miss Soli or Subject F or P-Woman, who straight up looks like a reptilian shapeshifter, which some of y'all agree with, actually, from what I can tell telepathically. You're not opposed to things that I've said about these crazy-ass white women. And as a son of a white woman who wants to defend white women against trafficking, those of you that are spiritual realize I'm not racist against Muslims or white women or Christians. I see myself as some sort of a Christian, mystic, Gnostic, Buddhist, not Muslim, but Sufi leaning in search of the true Allah. In a world in which I do not believe these mainstream Christians and Muslims is what I meant to say, are truly, putting it on the line and doing what is necessary for their own people. Never before in the history of Coast to Coast has a person just been let go like that without doing something like foul on the air, like using bad language or being insulting to the guest or the host. I was not insulting to the guest or the host, nor do I really feel telepathically that you, the audience at present listening, really takes this situation seriously. Essentially, I have to quarantine myself again right now from toxic energies and intelligences. And even though I want to have a healing sexual experience because I believe that it will enhance my intelligence, to be honest with you, my confidence, and the depths of my spirituality, if I had a union, I feel like I would be creating more content and traveling, and that it would mediate some trauma that doesn't seem to be mediated by talking. Does that make sense? Have we got it out now? That it's not really, in my opinion, sex. I don't know if we've ever talked about this. It isn't actually about the because that you could do that yourself. The whole union thing in the Gospel of Alex Ansary is so that there is this mutual appreciation for another friggin' form of life that you don't want to see kidnapped and destroyed. So yeah, I'm a freak, folks. I fetishize the idea of actually caring about somebody and promoting that way of life. And I know for a fact, Jack, that I've dealt with hyper promiscuous women that get off on the idea of fucking their friend's daddy. And they're so nuts, they think they can meet somebody like me, brag about that dirty ass shit, and think that I'm going to think that's normal or that they're normal when they break my heart for a Johnny come nothing who lives in conservative America because he has a, unless I'm told otherwise, because I knew I was right about her the whole time, because he has a what? We all know it starts with an H. Because he has a hut. No, he has a house. But hut. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be with the man with the hut, have the puppies. But if it's just to have a hut, not even have puppies, just to be in survival mode, then how are you spiritual even if you swam with the dolphins? You're not spiritual if you acted like a leftist and you bet. And here's the ultimate thing about it. Here's the ultimate, and I'm beyond MGTOW, even though I joked the other day, should I be MGTOW again? It's not should I be MGTOW, but should I be discussing human relationships and how we need to be making improvement to save the human race? The answer to that question is hell yes. Not to quote Stone Cold Steve Austin. The other day I did see the 316. That was a synchronicity to the Bible verse for me to look at the 316 as popularized by the Stone Cold Steve Austin, but they really did bastardize, I think, with their Satanism, the 316. But yes, spiritual sex, as discussed in a shorty. And there are days in which I told myself today, don't do a new video, take your old videos and make a bunch of shorts. Make like 20, 30, 40, 50 shorts. Make 100 shorts. At minimum, every day, there should be a few shorts out of the long video to bring whether we call them the millennials or the adults with the millennial brains, however we want to refer to it, So, in the theme of Dark Side of Cupid, could there be another reason why a teenage girl that isn't really an authentic spirit being would want to have sex with their friend's dad? What would be the purpose of that, other than for her to get her rocks off and achieve orgasm? Why would she have to entrap a family man in order to have an orgasm? Answer: she has an entity that she passes on from partner to partner. It's not so much, HPV or this and that. It's an entity, okay? And she's not of the light, and she doesn't love men that are of the light, and she has a soft place in her heart for the Clyde Lewises of the world, and basically the Johnny-come-latelys that are basically taking advantage of the fear and the sense of being victimized. And here's the truth, honey. I understand that we collectively went through a victimization process during the lockdowns, but here's the reality, honey. It wasn't my first rodeo with being isolated. It was y'all's first rodeo with that shit. Now, the truth is, I still didn't handle it very well because I was dealing with your collective mania, and I'll still be processing that and telling you things you still have not heard yet from me on YouTube that'll later be put into a book that will cause some of you to gasp. And right now, you're sitting back watching me normally. But once you read my book in 5 years, and everything comes out that's not being out now, you're going to go, what? You're going to go, holy but Jesus, you're kidding, dude. You're kidding. I'm not kidding. It happened. It went down. I was subjected to it. Because of your people isolating me from the dark side of conspiracy theory, I shut everything out in 2019 and 2020. I didn't want to hear from it. I didn't want to hear from you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to know you. And I wanted you to stop screaming my name and asking me if I was alive or dead. I wanted you to stop caring about me. And if I was dead, allow me to rest in the grave. Allow me peace in the grave. Let's just say I'm dead. I'm dead. Yes. A is dead. He's dead. Just let it go and put flowers on my digital grave. Make a nice little online obituary. He was nice. He warned us of wars with Russia and China by the mid-2020s, or at the very least the mid-2030s during the next solar cycle. If they don't pull the trigger on this solar cycle, they're certainly planning the next Third World War, and if not mutual assured destruction, this global enslaved matrix with the China Musk brought microchips. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. He warned us, and he lived in a mobile box on wheels. People of his own hometown would build even websites for him in 2014, 2015. And when they heard that he was critical of the way the website was designed, Portlanders that he knew when he was homeless destroyed the websites before Alex's very eyes. Yes, these things really did happen. Portlanders really did go out of their way to emotionally fuck me up when I went back to Portland in 2014 and 2015. I will survive. But now I know the truth about Portlanders and their fake kindness. But Portlanders have never, ever helped me, though. Not that they ever had to. I'm just saying, whenever there was help to the tune of more than a few $100s to say, get out of Dodge or do something with my life. At present, Portland doesn't come to mind, or Portlanders, even though we know that Portland wealth is there. Jewish Portland wealth and money is there. I've seen their parties at Loris Park. They come, they blow the whistle. Dun, dun, dun. It's like something out of Lord of the Rings. And all the Jews, I'm not saying this in a negative sense, because Aaron Edmondson, friend of Gunnar Standard, was there with me when I had a black Jewish fan who bought me a Torah, and we sat there together in the Jewish ritual in 2015. That's right. And I let her bless me with the Torah and give me the Jewish, what's it called? It starts with an M. You put it in your physical car, and nothing bad ever happened to me in that car while I had their Jewish blessings. So I'm not dissing on the Jew book, the Torah, or any of that. The love from that black woman, that Jewish black woman in Portland, Oregon, was greater by leaps and bounds than any typical, quote, black, regular African-American woman. She wasn't even, they weren't even of the same race as far as she was black, but she wasn't black. You know what I'm saying? She was black, but then again, there was a level of compassion, encouragement, and motherliness, and perception. She never called me. It wasn't until I came to this cesspool that I met a black woman, not a white woman, but a black. But then again, there was the woman that felt that she was drawn to have the baby with me. And that woman was mesmerized by my appearance, but so greatly that she's like, oh my God, you are under attack from them. Holy crap, I need to make like a baby with you, not tell you the full story and talk about how they took the baby under mysterious circumstances, call it a dragon baby, and leave your ass confused in the dirt, traumatizing your ass for perhaps like longer than, and your mom won't even ask you about it, but she might take you up to Canada in 1989 with a mysterious black man to get you microchipped, but before she dies, there'll never actually be a phone conversation about what actually happened, but you'll just have to actually talk about it with the whole internet, and it'll just be with this awkward moment. There's no need for such extreme secrecy. It's a very pornographic world with humans in some cases on video having sex with horses. So given that that's the case, and we sometimes read about it, not that you're having sex with horses, I'm just saying, what am I saying? I'm saying humankind seems to be programmed with horse screwing genes. We heard of, at least I did back in the day, of women having sex, and people joked about it, about having bought tickets to see women having sex with animals in Mexico. Folks, that's not normal. That's kinky, freaky stuff. Do they still do that? Was that in response to them not having regular porno? Just a question that just burped out of me. Was that by chance in response to sexual suppression in America, that people would fly to Mexico to see a woman have sex with a donkey? Who does that? Who did that? Who flies to Mexico to have sex with a prostitute who had sex with a bunch of men? What type of man becomes so horny he has sex with a woman who's having sex with multiple men? What type of a man has a woman like this at his conference and snaps at his audience if they believe that entities pass through people when they have sex? That would be then a man that uses speakers for his own personal gain. So, Mark Passio, do you or do you not resent those of us that are awake to the truth that your former speakers brought to your conference? What type of a person attacks his own speakers that helped him become a living legend in the eyes of the people on the internet? Because if you don't know the role that the Free Your Mind conference played, in addition to the What on Earth is Happening website, like, you haven't paid very much attention to the growth of Passio. The truth and gnosis, however, of the great Alex Ansary does exceed the limitations of Mark Passio. And while Alex Ansary may have theories about himself being a naughty spacecraft operator, possibly fleeing Earth during a prior cataclysm, that's all garbly goo to you, along with the idea of Ansary being some sort of prophetic figure. It's all garbly goo and all this is made up. China doesn't exist. The Earth is not flat. The Earth is a triangle. And I am from the planet Parp Top. And this is not happening. You are hallucinating. Okay, so at this point, we're going to read a segment from this book. I have no idea what we're going to read from this book, other than to say that we're somewhere in the middle of this book. And I have the ability to write a sequel to this book, talking about my own sexual experiences and basically describing how I do believe that they can send nymphomaniacs your direction that you meet on dating websites to get a DNA readout. So they will have the ability to love you in a certain way. And then they'll think that's normal. And then they'll go to someone else and love them a certain way. But they won't love this and what's coming out of this in that same way that they will see themselves as spiritual for hopping from partner to partner, and they will gaslight the spiritual light being for being a better man than his father. They will gaslight and they will say crazy shit like, so in the same way that I was traumatized as a young boy by the words, I'm correcting you. Now moving on to another female and giving her education, but she's not listening. So that's fine, but you guys are. She would say these things like, I'm preparing you for your next partner. Hey, listen, McFly. I'm preparing you for the next time you meet a friggin' man of God. Next time you meet a man of God, you're not going to get on your hands and knees and go, all right, I'm ready to give you some love, to a person who's desperate for any form of physical love, to then break his heart because he fell in love with you and would have died for you, as the song says, screaming in the night. I literally did live a life where the idea of me loving a woman was found to be both threatening and disgusting, and I knew psychically, intuitively, as I connected with them on a psychic level, that I was nothing but a fuck toy. Nothing but a male version of a blow-up doll, who they probably profiled as someone that, you can understand, when they send a being in to get that DNA data, okay? Not that we're talking about ejaculating without a condom DNA. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm assuming they're still getting an essence, if not the sperm itself, of the person that they're having intercourse with, even if they're using a condom. But they're obviously going to, yeah, that's why they sent her in. They can also send in people that take birth control that like to have the ejaculation into them, even if they are on the pill, in order to get your DNA code, because they're being corded up to by entities, whether we call them reptoids, archons. I don't use the term archonic as much, but I have in the past to describe women that really nut up when they talk about having sex with men that kill other humans, especially women and children. But that term's not used. They just use the term military, right? So there was a video that's probably deleted on my channel, but it might be privated, but it's probably deleted, because I was a little bit more intimidated, without being honest about it, regarding the archons. I was brave on one level, but also intimidated. I believe back then that, to appease YouTube and the moderators and the Hindu extremists that are probably running YouTube without them telling you, and maybe China, that maybe it's better to just delete videos and delete Morning Mayans insulting comments and racist comments, and to cover that up because it's evil and it's corrupt, and those horrible harassing videos from the MGTOW stalker guy, obsessed with me filming myself in nature, walking around filming himself in nature, going, anybody can do it, bro, and then putting me down for martial arts movements. Folks, you can't fabricate this storyline. You can't make up this stuff, to give his quote. There are many, 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 many comments I have deleted, and many, many videos I never kept documentation of that I have cited for you, that I have no proof of. You are just going to have to take my word for it at this point, or call me a fucking liar. I don't care. God knows I'm telling the truth, and I'm here to bear witness. I am the identifier. I'm getting the friggin' shirt. Now, do you want to help me? Forget it. I'll consult AI. But I am the identifier. I aspire to be the insusceptible, but it's not always easy to fill those shoes. We're in a world of big-time mind control, and you start announcing, I am the insusceptible, into the online realms and go, you think you're insusceptible to our mind control? Fill this, mofo. You want to talk some smack about how you're more powerful than the archons? You ain't shit, and they do that. They do that. And this book gets into that. If you're going to be a real authentic truther, you're going to have this, what she calls anomalous trauma, which no psychiatrist will believe in or understand. But if you do get one to believe in it, which I've had those experiences of getting them to understand the archonic demonic interference, they can't actually provide an answer, though. If you could finally find somebody, psychiatrist, therapist, church figure, pastor, they could be like, wow, well, that's deep. Well, I can see that. Oh, yeah, because our Bible and ours says, but they can't actually be in the fight with you. Also, furthermore, you can deal with some book that says psychic self-defense, a how-to. I sent a friend one without reading the book, but just going, oh, there's a cheap book on eBay, because I have 6 of them myself. You're going to deal with that level of knowledge that person is able to provide, okay? And that's the truth, Jack. And so not everybody is able to provide a certain level of information on self-defense, psychic self-defense, spiritual hygiene, sexual morality, because they don't have experience dealing with immorality and morality. You have to have experience with the light side and the shadow side, and overcoming the shadow side if it took you over. So we have people that have never dealt with spiritual attacks, that are pastors, that are given spiritual advice, Okay. We also have astrologers that know nothing about the effects of the sun, that are day in and day out talking about the effects of the planets. We have people giving advice for dating and playing the game that have no morality and don't know what it's like to be isolated by negative entities. And Muslims talk about this. Muslims talk about how shaitan or the jinn can affect people to such a degree where they can't find a lover, where they can't find a mate. And that is in conjunction with this. And so there is a spiritual side of Islam that I have identified channeling through the being known as Sufi realities at present. And if my opinion on him changes, I will tell you straight up and retract what I've said. But so far, the one, and he is in my opinion, the 144,000 ding ding. Until you can show me another man, imam, Muslim, mullah, whatever terminology you want to use for the Muslims, that dude is the shit. And we're going to bring him back with style. We're going to hear his voice. We're going to hear his voice. We're going to hear his voice now and use this as the opportunity for our break. All right? But it is important that you are exposed to this form of spirituality. And after years and years and years of you hearing about, this is really my intro to this. After years and years and years about you hearing about, foreign lands and the Islamic world, we're going to go to what I consider to be one of his best videos, although I haven't seen them all, and I don't watch him daily because I'm more focused on my own stuff. I'm not currently watching other content. I'm just watching a daily movie. So this complements my years of warning about the archonic interference in human affairs. We're just going to listen to audio, and we're going at random, 4/5 of the way in.
We have a remembrance of the belly button that remains for us to show us, no, we are connected to that center of power. And our life is to pursue that reality back into the center of power. And that's what we call it, the journey to the Lord of Power. Because the closer you go closer to the center, the sheikhs who go closer to the center, they have
We'll
more
take an
knowledge,
11-minute break.
because the one who holds the center holds the knowledge of all realities. Right? Yeah. If we're only on the outside, we don't know anything. We just know my own point. If you leave a life from the circumference and say, I want a spiritual path, now you're walking your radius to the center. So that radius is a tariqah, is a path. The more you step in it is your Gnostic way. The closer you get to the center, what's happening at the center? It's the information for all the points. What we call the knowledge, ulum al-awwalin wa akhirin, the knowledge of everything, because you're at the center. So they move to the back of knowledge, to the beginning of time, they can move to the end of time. So it's a journey towards that center of power. And that's what's evident in our understandings and our realities. And that's why this universe has a sun. Our galaxy has a sun, but the universe has a pistol star, which is billions of times more powerful than this sun. And it comes like a circle with a power source. And that power is reaching to everything. That sun's ray is reaching to all the galaxies, all the universes.
It's a lot to process.
It is. Kylo was asking.
Yes, we should answer Kylo's question.
Any truth to the notion that we each pre-selected our respective lots in this life, that we each chose to live our own lives for some reason? Almost like a question about karma in the Vedantic tradition.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in the handicapped child. Yeah. Where we have a day called Alastu bi Rabbikum qalu bala. On a day of promises, God said that this is your destiny. Are you accepting it? And we said, Bala, yes, to the Divine the Presence. And then we were cast upon this earth. So it was already pre-written what we would do and how we would do it, and would it be a hard life, an easy life? And again, because you have to have the notion that paradise is supreme, right? You want to come back and get the best real estate in paradise, because that lasts for eternity. Not to get a house on the material world only, but I want my eternal palace. It's eternal for me. So then the more testing, the more difficult the life that they took, well, then you can imagine then they're sitting very nice in paradise. Yeah. So when we understand that, then when we see sick children, well, those are very high level souls. A soul that God didn't want them to live 30 years and contaminate themselves with sins, and they lived 5 seconds, 5 breaths, and they left because he didn't want them to be contaminated. So these are maybe cherubim and angelic souls that they have to, everything has to taste of death. So everything is going to come through this Mother Earth and head back out. So there's infinite wisdoms on why people come, why they live short lives, hard lives, long lives, bad lives, good lives, everything. The one who lives a bad life, then there's a wisdom in that they lived a bad life, but then there should be somebody that comes to intercede for them, that you are your brother's keeper, that when people are doing bad or they don't have enough, then the ones whom do good and have, they should be taking care of those. They should be praying for those. So there's a whole system that's been organized. It's just a matter of everybody, trying to build themselves, and this world will be a better place. But when the haves don't care about the have-nots, then it looks like, a horrific world, but God didn't make that, the humans did. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to come and take care of anyone, but that wasn't the rule that they signed up for. They were supposed to make it and feed everybody. They were supposed to go out and teach people. They were supposed to go out and support people, and then we had an uplifting of our spiritual reality.
Sheikh, I would like to ask, it seems that in these times, one of the worst, or at least most dangerous things that you can do is tell the truth. It seems like a time of lies, and when you speak truth these days, it seems you get attacked for it and descended upon from all sides. Has it always been this way, or is it a sign of these dark times?
No, it's a sign of the dark times, because the truth and the false, they don't get along. So the Quran says the truth comes and the falsehood perishes. So it means things that are of a false nature, they don't want the light of truth. So if we teach by the world of light, that let's say you build yourself and you're luminous like a light bulb. Well, you go into an area of people whom are filled with badness, you're burning them. So those are the Dracula movies. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Why doesn't Dracula go into the sunlight? Because he operates within the darkness, and the sun burns him. And that's why in all old caricatures, Europe and Middle East, saintly and pious souls, their heads were illuminated like suns, because their heart is lit, and as a result it shines upon their face like a sun, like a moon. And that light that illuminates is like the Dracula movies. Everything, people doing bad, they don't like these pious people, they don't like the light from them. It burns and agitates all of the creatures that are occupying them, and that's the difficulty. So first we have to understand we're like a bus, that you're not alone in your body. You have a soul, you have an ego, and most likely you have picked up many jinn beings that are living within you, right? You haven't vacated them, you haven't thrown them out, you haven't done any spiritual practices. So imagine having a house in a nice area and you left your doors open all day long. Well, you'd have probably 50 homeless people living in the rooms. Mm-hmm. Then you're surprised you have difficulty eating and somebody's bothering your children and they're stealing your items. Well, because your home is not locked. So God's like asking us the same thing. Your heart is not locked. Your body, all these spiritual creatures are entering into your body. Everything you listen to brings spiritual energy. Everything you watch on TV brings spiritual energy. You walk into the malls and downtown areas and all these horrific things, and all these spiritual energies come, and people don't know how to cleanse their energy anymore. So they're like a bus filled with all sorts of unwanted passengers.
Two questions very quickly. One is from a super chat from a friend of mine, Dayhawk666, also known as Goody Goody Dayhawk, formerly in another life. And he says, what do you say to someone like me who doesn't know one's purpose in life and why they are here?
Well, the teaching of the prophetic reality is you have to know yourself to know God. So once we take a path in which to know myself, means I'm going to reflect inward, because everybody's searching for God outside. You know, everyone's running to this place, this assembly, that location. But all of those locations should be teaching is that you have to find God inside. And so I'm not on heaven and I'm not on earth, I'm on the heart of my believer. So then the spiritual teachers would teach them that wherever you are, every day, sit down and meditate and take an accounting for yourself. Sit down, sort of breathe, meditate, and say, what have I done good today? What have I done bad today? Why did I fight today? Why did I get anger today? And you take an accounting of all the actions and you breathe and meditate and trying to find the inner peace. And we have much more detailed practices, but this is only for just a 2-minute answer on television. And that's the whole reality. Once I began to lock into myself, began to breathe, then cry at night that why did I bother these people? Why did I yell at this person? Why did I get angry about this thing? And I would write it down and say, okay, I'm going to make tomorrow a better day. Hopefully, inshallah. And then I took a life of continuously trying to make each day a little bit better by getting to know myself. Then I knew my triggers. I knew what I would get angry at, what would bring out different characteristics. And as a result of reflecting inward and then light practices and breathing practices, then you begin to find the inner reality of God, the consciousness, the virtuous character, and go out and feed people, go out and do good deeds until the heart became so soft. And the heart is like a satellite. When you clean it and purify, it begins to pick up a signal from the divine, the presence, and begins to pick up an inner consciousness and my inner voice in reality. And that becomes then the light at the end of the tunnel and the guidance that guides us towards goodness and hope and the divine, the presence. But if I'm just going to walk in the market and supermarket, then I don't find anything about myself and I don't even know why I'm here. So many people then harm themselves and live a life that's reckless without understanding why they're here.
Perhaps the most important thing that we could say at this point would be, Sheikh, could you give everyone listening some instruction on how to meditate?
Yeah, inshallah. I think the how on meditation is that to focus on the heart. So you take your thumb because there's a heartbeat from the thumb. So you keep the focus going to be on the heart and the power of the heart, and you close your eyes, play something nice, something that for us is like the salawats, Quran, something spiritual. If you want classical music, something that brings a sense of soothing and relaxing. And you visualize yourself in a space of light, and the light is in front of you, from all 6 directions is light. And then asking God that I'm asking for your light, I'm asking for a connection, I'm asking that you take away difficulties from me and fill me with light. And I just start every day 1, 2, 3 minutes of just breathing. Breathing and listening to these beatific sounds. And why we don't meditate in silence is as soon as you sit and try to meditate in silence, you begin to hear whisperings about this problem, who did this, who did that, go get a sandwich, go get your email. And we call the whisperer that doesn't want us to reflect inside. So you play something nice so that you feel that sensation within your heart, something beatific, and then visualizing yourself in this ocean of light from all directions, and then just breathing. And breathing in and out and letting the energy to enter the heart, and not for too long that you get sort of tired from it, just a few minutes every day until it begins to settle in and feel an energy. And then you also do an accounting that at night, that what did I do? What did I do to disturb that energy? Who did I harm with my person and with my tongue? And that way we can also correct our character, because just meditating with bad character and repeating the bad action every day also takes away and diminishes the blessings and the benefits. So every night I take an accounting that who did I disturb, who did I bother with myself, with my character, with my actions, and I try to make tomorrow to be a better day. And then just slowly meditating and then trying to make that connection. Excuse me, the concept of a shaykh, that people who understood and began to build themselves, the concept of having a guide is that I needed somebody stronger than myself to calibrate me and to accompany me on this journey. Then they seek out their guides, their gurus, the sheikhs, so that they can accompany them and not to be lost by myself, because my coordinates will tell me this thing, but my sheikh's coordinates may be this way. That I have to be able to balance what is the sheikh's guidance and what am I thinking and why are they off. Maybe what I'm thinking is very egotistic and the sheikh is thinking more that what I should be doing and how I should be directing myself, and then that becomes the reality of guidance and all the teachings and the talks and all of the activities, so that I can coordinate myself to a higher plane. And then the chanting, the breathing is so that I can raise my vibrations. When I begin to raise my vibrations, then it becomes a great attack against all the lower vibration and the bad energies that are trying to attach itself to myself.
Excellent point. One of the things that I also do when I'm walking is I will walk and do the circular motion with intention. And this is also what I noticed from Tai Chi, so it's an inversion of a Tai Chi move. So I'm bringing it up, and it's connecting with the heart chakra, and then turning and breathing out, and turn. You might notice these Tai Chi movements where they're turning, and the circular motion. You also might notice the edit I did of Bull Young doing where he's fighting Cynthia Rothrock. And I also want to make the point. That is the predicament, though, that a lot of men are in when they have sex with a woman and they have a baby, or they get her pregnant, whether it's illegal or illegal, what they did, and they act on their primitive urges. They run away at that intensity and speed of Bull Young running away from Cynthia Rothrock. Like literally, Bull Young running away from the blonde-haired woman. That's pretty much, unfortunately, the state of affairs due to the ways in which the family is under attack. And in some ways, as the light reveals itself, this is the age of revelation. Do not perceive all revelations of the light to be of Lucifer. There's so many talking points of mainstream conspiracy theory that it's toxic. Another day to continue that conversation and the rest of the story. Let's now. No, I want to do it I want to do it John Wayne style, literally make my day. This was written by me, the only person to even speak these types of words ever, in a lot of places, let alone Archuleta County, Pagosa Springs. If history is our guide, and I open this up at random, American women are in great danger. Today's hacked social media accounts and cell phones are likely to be used for tracking and finding women later, as human trafficking is expected to be seen as the #1 threat in the future. Rh negative bloodlines could be targeted. It has always been assumed that China's military might play a role in collecting the humans of female gender of specific bloodlines for other forces, either those here now or those expected to arrive later. There's a lot of giant programming. I've shown you a little bit of it with the female giants entrapping the small humanoid men into they're doing also programming on YouTube in the commercials of basically giant aliens. I want to say impregnating, but that's happening on the porno sites, but branding with hot, painful, pain-causing brands. Do you find this? You've seen this, right? I know you've seen this. It can't just be me. I know you're not thinking oh, Alex, you're getting weird again. No, you've seen this. You've seen it, right? You've seen it. You've seen these crazy ass ads have been around for a while. You can go back to 2010. In Portland, we saw the zombify yourself adverts. Very unattractive, very ugly women. Really. Ugh. Beautiful, maybe before, not after. No, you're not pretty when you put on the zombie makeup and you get on the ground and you bark like a doggy. I'm a zombie. Grr, grr. It's one thing if people want to do a little role playing, but they take the Michael Jackson. We all know I was a Michael Jackson fan. Do I repent of it? No. We don't know that he's guilty. The other day I was thinking about Michael Jackson on my road trip, and I started hearing one Michael Jackson song after the other, and I'm thinking, oh my God, the spirit of Michael Jackson is literally taking over the radio, and he's speaking to me because I did the whole Man on the Mirror thing. I did the whole Thriller jacket thing as a child, and I have plenty of speculations regarding a great many things. But the worship of Michael Jackson, however, from the cult fan base, that I had an excuse. It was the early 80s. And I had a missing daddy. What do you expect? But like the cult thing and behind Tyson and Jake Paul and the McGregor UFC fighter and all that is just really unappealing. The type of things that people are into. All right. So there's always been or appear to be a coordination of the global space programs from publicly known government programs to private top secret ones to those privately financed. Elon Musk, those of his ilk. I feel like we're like camping together in like a tent. I'm like, okay, and then this happened, and then the monster came, and the kids went ooh, and then we made some more s'mores. It's a well-known fact, although most of humanity is asleep, that China, Russia, and the U.S. shared the ISS while preparing for a world war on the ground. Almost speaking in a futuristic sense, like it already happened. I told you once that I had that short story. That's enough of that. We've got business to attend to. So you gotta understand, I've got brilliance in unpublished journals. Somebody messaged me today. I don't know if it's a prank caller. Somebody messaged me today. I don't normally get real legitimate messages from Twitter, but someone's like, "Do you want us to promote your writing? You're something else." They don't even know who I am, and they like just promote like random like underdog writers. And it's like, you seriously want to throw down with my brain? Do you have any idea what could happen? I think we need to have a talk. I'm not like other guys. So yes, so let's do this, and then let's hop into the pool of hot, juicy news. We have Unrest and the Path of Totality. Boy, do I know how to tease a show. 1 hour and 90 minutes into it. Gwen remarked on the switch of persons in the dream. So in my dream, I was choking Satan, and in Rokulu's dream, he was choking me. This needs a little context. Switching chapters. The Cupid psych myth ends at the Council of God's switching pages. When we experience profound love connections, there we go. Magical things can happen. You can do. So, from my lived experiences, I could talk about maybe, I wouldn't say girlfriends, but maybe 10 females that were focuses in my life that I can recall. Whereas there might be women, in which, forgive me, but I've forgotten their name. We used each other for sex on Craigslist, and we never talked again. But then there are ones in which I hung out with over and over, lived with, or I wouldn't say dated, but fornicated with, was fond of, or they were fond of me, but there wasn't any real union. We're a union now, and it's us against the world. We're a team. Even if we don't have a baby, we're going to make something together, and we're going to be committed. It's not going to be just us shacking up and you be with someone and not tell me, and I be with someone, then we're ready to move away from each other because of the astrological alignments. We'll just float away, and so I'll never forget what it felt like to be at an event called Metapoesis in 2006 with Subject F, which was supposed to be, to me, my replacement, late 60s free love experience, where I shared a tent with a woman that I loved. And it was at that event where she was there with her cameras, and she was filming another man. And that man was a famous DJ. And I tripped on mushrooms from a pot that was given around freely. And then I tripped on mushrooms, and it's not a good thing to do that when you're experiencing really tough emotions and a breakup. And that's a really horrifying time to lose your girlfriend. When you're tripping on mushrooms, that's a horrifying time for someone to look you in the eye and be like, I don't love you. I don't even like you. I like somebody else. When you go on a camping trip. So I would say that we experience these things that are not normal because these people are sent into our life to break us in reality. We think they're spiritual. We'd like them to be spiritual. But really, we're in love with an image. We're in love with an illusion. We're living in a fantasy. There's that song from Aldenova, Fantasy. Don't think I should play copyrighted content right now. But I don't think I've talked to you about that metapoiesis. And Alex Gray, the famous artist, just so you know, he was meant to come there to this event, which happened around, it wasn't quite Central Oregon. It was not in a spiritual place in reality. It was in a place where they went in to cut down trees, and they created their little DJ fest to have their little Portland hipster party type thing. And the locals were not happy at all as to what was to happen. It wasn't like a dangerous rave. They didn't exactly trash it. They did the whole pack it in, pack it out. The question is, what type of energies of these, to be frank, as if Subject F once ever asked that, and of the energies of our ayahuasca buddies, what is the true nature of these humans? And are they cordoned up to aliens? And is she? And the answer, in the end, when we read about books like this, is that it does fit the bill. And I'm not the one serving the gray agenda. I'm not the one silent about the victims of war. I'm not the one silent about the New World Order. I'm not the one who told someone, a child of God, that they're hard to love. I'm a being who is saying things that nobody else is. And that is worth preserving. And it's not a matter of being in someone's relationship or being bent or having children. It's realizing that we do get a glimpse of the microcosm from our relationships, from our parents, like it or not, and from the very cities that we are born in. I have chosen to embark on a path of taking a microscopic and going like this with Portland for you. Now, you can do it with me. You can look at Portland. You can look at what I said about Portland. You can look at my own videos of Portland. You can look at Trump's criticisms of Portland, even though you know I'm not a Trumpard, but some of you people go back and forth between me, him, and Jones, and you know it, and some of you will come later. And you'll be like, okay, so you're not a fan of Trump, but you sound like Trump sometimes, and I like you and Trump, and I won't leave when you say I have to leave, like we're in a nightclub, and I come up like Patrick Swayze and go, it's time for you to leave. I don't remember the be nice. Be nice until it's time to not be nice. I'm getting a rush from this coffee, but new coffee today. This point needs to be made at this time. Okay. We're at least getting the news by the second hour. We're being very, very typical of commercial radio here. Okay. In this world of physicality, many men that don't have consciousness or self-control can be duped by evil forces that operate directly from aspects of the media and the digital spectrum and the unseen realms to rape, rob, steal, involved in modern gangsterism, but old school gangsterism doesn't exist because of the surveillance society. So the new gangsterism exists, police, military, and then the new aspects of the underworld and, you know, the dark web stuff, hacking, you know, this type of stuff, dark occult, black magic, TikTok stuff, mixed in with gangsterism and harming others, and fake news. Fake news is very gangsterism to me. So we're living in a witch-lock paradise. Living in a witch-lock paradise. Na. So you have to protect yourself with the spiritual weapons at your disposal in the astral streets. And I am your life coach. I'm here to help. Come with me if you want to evolve your soul. Okay? So, Solar maximum is a time in which we do see a need for women that we care about to be extraordinarily aware of their surroundings. It's not being negative to understand that we are in a physical world. And if they want to start saying that we're ascended or we're not a physical world or that we've evolved beyond those things that we're projecting, then those women that trying to silence our sacred masculine and feminine that care about them needs to demonstrate to us how we've ascended to 5D, how the wars have evolved beyond, what's happening in Gaza, and the people supporting this and also cheering on the death toll in Gaza is not a sign of just people being angry. We're going to talk about that next. In the Path of Totality in Austin, Texas, there are angry protesters, but that doesn't mean that I support what Abbott's doing. Abbott, I don't like, and I see him as part of an agenda, and I see him as someone that is deliberately, and the nation knows it, he's deliberately putting migrants in certain blue state areas as a part of a political agenda. Whether he knows it or not, he's a tool. Okay, they're not distributing these to other blue or red state areas. They're focusing on specifically New York City and places like that, which makes it not safe for New York City residents that don't deserve this. And so if negative things happen at the hands of migrants to people in New York City, white women, white men, black men, other people, Asians, I don't just care about white lives, folks. I just want you to understand that after years of people assuming that it was anti this or that, I'm not. I was speaking up for myself in the same way that you guys do. And you need to be honest with the fact that you have family, you have a mom, you have a dad, you have family that interacts with you, most of you. Most of you don't have the isolating experience that I do, in which I feel that my parents just are not permitted cosmically to be in support of me. I have a different view than them spiritually. Some of them say they're Muslim. Some of them say they're in the Ascension New Age movement, and that's all fine and dandy. I know what the belief systems are very, very well of these groups, and I don't support. I in fact, frown upon such thinking and such bullshit. To say that we're ascending and this, that, and the other is a slap to the face to the people that are dying right now in Gaza. And the rage that is being seen as legitimate from the pro-Palestinian protesters doesn't seem to recognize the Afghan people, nor do the Afghan people themselves or Muslims themselves or women with hijabs themselves, who I care about. These groups, when I speak to them and attempt to talk to them when I'm at the grocery store or these various places, they don't want to talk to me. Okay, they look at me with amused skepticism as if they have an entity controlling their actions, telling them, get away from this guy, he's no good. Get away from this guy, he's no good. Like they're hearing voices in the head. And it's not like a voice so much, but it's an impression. It's like it's not their own organic, real thoughts when they're being judgmental. And they're not even realizing that I am a descendant of a man who has his own Wikipedia page, Mr. Jabal, Ansary calling, Mr. Maz bin Jabal. I know I'm enunciating that wrong. I don't have a Islamic or Arabic slur to me. I don't have a yalla thing. Please forgive me. But for lack of a better word, Maz bin Jabal. And I was told officially, you can walk up to a mosque and say, I'm a descendant of this group and they will respect you. Bro, you got the voices in the head yourself by thinking that nonsense. Maybe they'll respect you, but certainly they ain't respecting me. Nor does Zahir Wahab want to have anything to do with me either. When I told him that stuff about feeling like I could write my own holy book, that Afghani guy was gone like Flynn. Or that ain't even rhyme. So, folks, it isn't just you, per se, and some of you are way more open-minded than the Afghanis. That's what I'm telling you. It's not racism to say that I am trying to explain that I am beyond this race thing. And I am not typical for a human being. And there's so much knowledge that I have, but it's so painful to know that humans like me, bring it to center, they're not going to be loved by the majority of the women on this earth. And that's not misogyny, because this is not where spiritual people are. The majority of the people on this planet are not spiritual. And I encourage those of you that might really believe that you're spiritual, then if that is the case, and that is the case for some of you, don't compare yourself to the rest of the world. The other white people, black people, men, women. We're not going to focus on other genders. But you got to understand, the world is not as awake as you may have been led to believe that it is. And you must come to terms with the infection. You must come to terms with the ultimate Gnostic truth. What did I read to you yesterday? About the role that women used to play in mysticism and spirituality. They're not playing it today at the role they should. They're not exposing the desecration of the feminine and the role that aspects of pornography plays. That doesn't mean that I want to like suppress their kink. Quite the opposite. I actually like clearly stated my position recently. So I recall getting nasty emails from strippers in Portland. One woman said to me, you know, you are critical of the people coming into our club getting that sexual healing. And I go, tell me a little bit more of that sexual healing, kind of in a facetious like, well, show me that ass then. You know, it's so healing, right? No reply. Or why don't you explain a little bit further this sexual healing? No reply. You know what this is. This sexual healing is just energy. So people come, they put down money, they get energy. They get this perceived sexual energy, which is some female crawling. I'm not going to do it. Oh, I know you want to throw down $100 if I do it, some of it. But, you know, the whole crawling on all fours, the blowing on you, the tapping, and then like the endorphins, oh, I'm being healed. No, you're not really being healed because you're feeling pleasure. You're not feeling, you're being teased. And yes, it is true that I do believe that sexual energy and exposure to it at an older age, when the woman in a healthy legal sense is younger, probably does extend the life. So, for example, if I was to be someone very famous, older, and respected, I think it would be awesome to have a spiritual young girlfriend when I'm in my older age. This is not uncommon. This is normal. This is totally normal. And it is part of nature. So, sexual energy is withheld from good men if it can enable them to be more confident and in their power base. This is how sex is used to control. This is why then bad men are given sexual energy from women freely over and over and over, even if they beat them, kidnap them, and lock them in cages. It's that Nephilim Anunnaki programming. Even if we have females that are into conspiracy theories, this is how deep the programming is. They won't even see it in themselves in their own relationships. Like, actually do a deep dive examination with alien technology. If I was talking to aliens right now with the ability, now I'm not talking to humans, I'm talking to, you know, and analyze, you know, I'm talking to the aliens of 2080, and then analyze all the boyfriends and husbands of the women that were the conspiracy buffs. And all you have are sperm donors. All you have are men with money. All you have are basically people providing the hut, or, excuse me, the house, which is fine, I understand. But when the sun takes out your grid, and we're going back to, not only are you not automatically going to see spirituality once the grid is gone, even for those people that won't take the microchips, you will see barbaric men and women shacking up together, creating gangs, and going out and kidnapping other men and women, but specifically women, and women will be involved in the trapping process. They already are. You already know about Epstein's woman, which the world wants to blame over him. And then this guy, Epstein, I'm jumping topics. You'll have to just jump with me. Here, hold my hand. We have Trump photographed over and 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 over with this guy, Epstein. It's documented. He's photographed, but Trump wasn't really on the over there. But Trump didn't know. But Trump made a mistake. But Trump's a good guy. It doesn't reflect on Trump. But Trump. I'm sorry. What? Get the fuck out of here. I'm joking. I'm serious. I'm joking. Get the fuck out. I'm not putting up with this rejection of the truth. You will know them by their associations. I'm sorry, what? Grab them by the what? Get the fuck out of here. They're all together in this. Now, does that mean that somebody's got to light their ass on fire outside the fake Trump trial? The fake Trump trial to make him the new Hitler? Persecute the Hitler. He writes them in comp and he comes out and he's a living God. Like, why do I feel history repeating itself with Jones and Trump and these supposed persecuted people? It's like, if you call this persecution, I mean, some of you people don't know what a lockdown is, what a persecution is, what censorship is, what poverty is. It just goes on and on. Like, seriously, once people really end up poor, watch out. That's when the women end up trafficked. Like, men are like, I used to have a house. I used to be powerful. I used to have this. I will. And they're literally going to go into this, like, I'm sorry. It's not anti-this or anti-man or anti-American to say there is an aspect of human psychology, male and female, that is absolutely witchy and warlock as fuck and is like locked and loaded. And they've been arming these people with, and I don't just mean guns. with bad information and bad technology. Now, let's talk about that. Are you anti-Second Amendment? Listen, buddy. I am tired of myself being under mind control this whole time in the so-called truth movement. When have any of you ever cared about my Second Amendment and the fact that all I did is smack the government probably brought into Portland, Oregon? Why should I lose my Second Amendment because one time I was fiending and I stole drugs, pants from Nordstrom, which is an F when you don't stop, when they say stop, or I will say stop again, or I will with my lesbian. Like, that was insulting. Like, you lesbians think you're gonna stop me from stealing pants? No, I'm totally resisting this. I'm gonna go ninja mode on you, get out of my jacket while you grab my jacket, and show you something that should be in a Hollywood movie. Like, that was not planned. Then run to be then taken down by an overzealous, very athletic African-American gentleman, just to take down like that, when I'm not athletically at my best because I'm harming myself. That was just beautiful. And then to be taken, and then to be taken to jail and hearing that horrible song that was on the radio that I don't know if it's appropriate to karaoke by that black officer from the Portland Police who came every week to Burlingame Fred Meyer, where I worked for the Kruger Corporation, who later threw me in jail for 2 months for not paying a $250 fine for stealing what? Maybe about $100 worth of like juice and cigarettes and shit. All of which I admitted to, being a dumb fuck, admitting to fucking everything. Like, you know, you would think I would have friggin' learned something from my obsession with Goodfellas. You told him nothing, and you got nothing. No, I told him everything. Please help me. I just used drugs because I was abused, and I need help. And dude, welcome to the system. Now your ass is being stamped. Now the A-man's like, you made your bed, sleeping in. I ain't coming to you with court. Yeah, get ready for Solar Maximum, without even knowing what Solar Maximum was. He still may not. He's got the book. And now he knows the truth. He left a genius out in the street. A genius. He never took me to work out at that exclusive gym because of what that man would think about me. What would that man think about me if I showed up and wasn't able to bench 225 because I wasn't juicing? What would little old man with the George Bush portrait in the gym think of me if he was to bring me in? We're on the second pot of coffee, but we're recycling it. The thing is to recycle the coffee and to upgrade your coffee with the ashwagandha. Now, I was thinking about Las Vegas, and then the Vegas thing had the power outage. I was thinking about Russia hacking and screaming, the Russians are coming, the Chinese are coming, with my megaphone, but I didn't film it. And then this news comes out about them hacking back in January, this area in the Panhandle near the New Mexico border, plus Amarillo, which is I guess north of, not that area, but it's another area. I don't know that state well, but I'm getting to know it. It seems to be a hot button area with the border issue and the targets of Russia and areas in which Russia has targeted in the past. Not just there. There's other places in America, right? But it seems to be something in which there seems to be more truthers needed in that sector of the USA, because there is a history, just so you know, of Russia messing with those people's minds. They are susceptible to Russian mind control. The Lone Star folks. This is documented. It's quite sad. It's actually quite sad. If there are people outside of the mind control in the Lone Star State, it would be good to know that. You know, there are some people out there, but it does seem like there are some really dark places in America now where there's pockets of people all under mind control. LA is another, San Francisco is another, and then there's whole-on regions. And entities and demons is a big part of it. Oklahoma is another, all areas of Oklahoma. Kansas, Missouri. Missouri is also an archon paradise. I've lived there also, in Missouri. Kansas City, Missouri specifically, in the ghetto, right, with some viewers' crazy girlfriend who was angry at me for using a space heater, who didn't even give a damn who I was. That's how I ended up homeless in Portland. Never mind, just skip that story. It just goes on and on, folks. You can't fabricate this timeline. Oh, seriously. We are going to play the Rambo 3 clips, okay? We are going to play the Rambo 3 clips, so you at least hear the audio so you at least hear the audio that they don't want you to hear. Because if you were to hear this and realize that they weren't Taliban when they were defending their country against Russia, and the question is, what are you going to do when the New World Order, and I'm asking you in a facetious Hulk Hogan kind of way, what are you going to do, America, when the Russian-Chinese New World Order comes to collect on the debt? Seriously, what are you going to do? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about the real world safety or lack thereof that a lot of American men and women are going to be in? And have you thought about the seriousness of the situation in which I can talk about this consistently since 2007 and not get a return email from, either David Icke, Clyde Lewis, Joel Skousen, or any of the producers of Coast to Coast giving them constructive feedback on them censoring me? Well, you think I should be impressed? Let's now go plain audio only to avoid a copyright. And then the rest of the story. Here is Stallone sitting down with
You must wait for help the way we wait,
the people defending their country.
No, go alone. And you will die. I die.
Wait. Please don't go. My name is Masood. You must not judge us before you understand why we are not ready to help. Most of the Afghan people are very strong, and we are determined not to be driven from our land. Our children die of disease, mines, and poison gas, and the women are raped and killed.
Last year in the valley of Legman, the next valley, 6,000 Afghans were killed. Pregnant women were cut with bayonets and their babies thrown into the fires. This is done so they will not have to fight the next generation of Afghans. Yet nobody sees anything or reads anything in the papers. What you see here are the Mujahideen soldiers, holy warriors. To us, this war is a holy war. And there's no true death for the Mujahideen because we have taken our last rites and we consider ourselves dead already. To us, death for our land and God is an honor. So, my friend, what we must do is to stop this killing of our women and children. If getting this man free, so he can return to the free world and tell what happens here is necessary,
Abandoned by your government.
then of course we will help.
What do you want? Cooperation. This sector has been under total control for over 5 years. There is little more I can do here. It is, as you say, without challenges. If you supply to me worthy information about more Stinger missiles you are planning to deliver, it could provide a way out of this for us both. After all, in the end, what everyone really wants is peace.
The Kremlin's got a hell of a sense of humor.
Please explain.
You talk peace and disarmament to the world, and here you are wiping out a race of people.
We are wiping out no one. I think you are too intelligent to believe such absurd propaganda. Now again, where are the missiles?
I don't know anything about any missiles.
Of course you do. But you do not seem to realize I'm providing a way out for us both.
You expect sympathy? You started this damn war, now you have to deal with it.
And we will. It is just a matter of time before we achieve a complete victory.
You know there won't be a victory. Every day your war machines lose ground to a bunch of poorly armed, poorly equipped freedom fighters. The fact is that you underestimated your competition. If you'd studied your history, you'd know that these people have never given up to anyone. They'd rather die than be slaves to an invading army. You can't defeat a people like that. We tried. We already had our Vietnam. Now you're gonna have yours.
So, you wish to test me?
Good.
And there we have it. All right. So we will
called
be
bionic
discussing
boob.
that again in the future. Indiana Jones, Leap of Faith.
Power of the Grail is the only thing that can save your
I apologize. The audio is low.
Ask yourself what you believe.
Path of God. Only in the leap from the lion's head will he prove his worth.
Well, we're going to come back. I apologize, but we're not going to be editing out that. But the audio is low on some of the clips. Sometimes I just need to preview it ahead of time. But yeah, Indiana Jones has some very spiritual scenes there. There's a scene there that is about the leap of faith. Again, positive memories of my mother do include some of these movies that have come out over time. Jewel of the Nile, Star Wars, Superman, and I have previously made videos about the spiritual gnosis of Superman and the archonic interference that we could see at Superman 3, where there's a light side and a dark side to Clark Kent, where he has a split. And so there is spiritual gnosis in it. Those of you that are into my stuff on the solar flares and comic books or movies should at least know about Superman 4. How they literally made a dark super solar being that's solar powered and stuff, who was really, really thirsting for the Earth woman, who's like, where's the woman? And Clark Kent's like, no, stop, the people, or Superman rather. And so he fights this solar being and, you know, throws him back into the sun or something. It's actually one of the better Superman movies. It's just really interesting how the dark side, or Lex Luthor, created a villain out of the sun to attack the light being. As I said before, many, many times, the sun is a source of life and information, right? And not just for human beings. So let us now go to Twitter. So we have a lot to cover. We have a lot to cover, kids. We have a lot of things happening. It's almost overwhelming, but I'm not going to allow myself to be overwhelmed. I really do need to talk sometimes for 2 hours. We've already taken our break without going into copyrighted content. So, okay, we're going to start here. We're going to be showing you examples of where I, Alex Ansary, was right about increased aggression in various places with a special focus on, in this case, California and the West Coast. I don't know which California mayor this is, but this is, and he may be not a good guy, but that doesn't mean that this black man has a right to come up and assault him, all right? There is also, I'm not saying I'm being critical of it, a dependency on black security guards to defend white people from attack. Okay, I don't know how I feel about that. You know, there definitely is like not only like legitimate, like systemic corruption and whatnot. Okay, here we go. There is a dependency at times on black security guards to defend others. You know what I mean? And it almost is like they believe they're superior as security guards or something. And I actually don't believe that. I don't personally believe that blacks are superior at security work. In fact, in some markets and demographics, at times they're not the most competent. But at least this one was doing his job and was appearing at least to protect, or trying to, but he did not appear competent to deliver the necessary force to stop the threat. He does appear to throw several swings. Let's make sure we have audio. He He isn't totally incompetent, but there he does go to the ground once. Okay. He isn't totally winded. Whereas some of us, we would be very fatigued in reality after 30 seconds. With someone larger and stronger coming at us. Okay, that's just the reality of it. So at least he is able to psychologically cope with this unstable person that is powered by what? Powered by what? You got it, kids. The sun. So when the sun is active, some men of the lower vibrational consciousness go on the rate. They're going to find themselves a recipient of their biological code. Others, they're going to be very alpha and saying, hell no, we're not taking your corruption anymore. We're going to swing on you. What's up? And nobody will be of the more intelligent, though, about the eclipse and the sun. Nobody in this group will have heard of Solar Wars 2025. And if they did hear of Solar Wars 2025, and someone was to try to tell them about the book, they would exile them immediately. They would be excommunicated. You would be banned from the club. They would kick you out. They would steal the book from you. They would tear it up.
Not at the moment.
They would burn it in front of you. And you would be bounced out of that Portland nightclub for even daring to say the words Alex Ansary. And you would be marked by the witches of Portland. We already know they're hunting for spirit-filled men on Tinder. They've been exposed. I know their number now. Ansary knows the truth. Ansary's Answers. Coming soon to a Palace bookstore near you. Ansary's Answers. This is why we are here, gathered today, my friends, to witness that Alex Ansary is right. In real time, we see this historic level of unrest behavior.
Let me go, man. Oh, yes. Oh, just let me go.
There he goes. There he goes.
Yeah.
If he was not a security guard, he would be accused of assault for resisting this. If he was in New Mexico, for example, and in a camera, he would be accused of horrible things for daring to wrestle for more than 5 seconds. You understand what I'm saying? Do you speak English? If I was wrestling in a situation for, say, multiple minutes, it would not be a positive outcome for me. Do you understand? This is the Looney Tunes boing, 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 boing reality that we are living in. Nothing but a gangster paradise. And this is all just a warm-up, if you will, for what is coming later. Now, at times, I do listen to, just so you know, Gregorian chants, as well as Om music, as well as Hu chanting, okay, as well as other things. So we'll just hear about a minute of this. whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, that's enough. Hard cold. All right. Is that good for you? Oh, man. Play that at the local hippie gangbang. Oh. Only not Burning Man. I'm sorry. This is just, I've envisioned it. I literally envisioned people at Burning Man literally hopping from block to block to block. I literally live with some people that went to Burning Man, and when they drove back to Portland from Burning Man, they hit an animal, totaled their car, then they decided to separate, and unfortunately, I was kind of present at that time. And I would say that my book is going to be very, very interesting. That's all I really want to say right now. What I will say is this. I have learned things from my own experience and my own abilities to be somewhat psychic, even if I lived in a world of tribalism, in which other genders and ethnicities, or perceptions of ethnicity or perception of race, is viewed as a higher pay grade than I. I am a valuable man. My information is valuable, but I'm not being hateful to you, ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you that on a collective level, to the people of Portland, Oregon, I do not have value, nor does Solar Wars 2025, nor do any booksellers. What they'll do is they'll go, you have to personally apply yourself at the website. No. Be a real person. Act like you're intelligent for once in your friggin' life. Act like you actually appreciate having a job in Portland. Listen to the man who's bringing you the book, and listen to the passage, and stop acting like you're a super smart sweetheart. Act like you have actual compassion for a person from Portland who was brutalized by your own city's left-wing white supremacy before the Trump supporters even got a chance to look at him sideways for defending refugees and shit. He should have never even have been put into a situation where he had to be defending refugees and shit because he's afraid of racism and being called a terrorist. No, a child of God should not be put in that situation, you fake-ass love and light hippies of Portland, Oregon. We can pull up right now, and I can prove to my audience that there's a whole plethora of people taking your money, honey, saying for however many dollars an hour, they're going to be your psychic. You're going to be your psychic. Call me Aunt Jamunga. No, that's the wrong product, but the Caribbean woman. Call now, 1-900, I'll lick you up. No, still wrong. But I'll be using that clip from Beetlejuice. She's like, Adam, I didn't put that in there. Come on down to Beetlejuice's strip club. It's like that, folks. You walk into certain strip clubs, if you're a man of God, you might be having a stiffy going, man, I really want to look at some angel who's just, waiting to be freed. You go into certain clubs, there ain't no angel dancing in that club. No. Maybe in Portland, Oregon, maybe certain years, they're getting a little explorative. Like, oh, I'm feeling like I want to be appreciated for being a good-looking naked woman. Hey, lady, there's a way to go about that, and there's a way not to go about that. And the way that you modern women are doing it with the modern technology and the modern dating apps, dating men that you don't know anything about their past or if they've raped women, you're just going along to get along with some dude. You're not checking IDs. You're going along with how he smells, how he looks. So if they want to sit there and play the algorithm, and they want to sit there and serve Satan and go, Molly, not to confuse that with medicinal Molly, but to mock the evil guy from Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom as they put the blonde-haired lady in the pit, or they prepare to sacrifice her as they put Indiana Jones under hypnotic trance. You know where I'm going with this. Society right now is under a hypnotic trance. So when I go to Reddit and I go warn in advance, human trafficking is going to increase in Portland, Oregon. I'm being called back by Spirit to directly talk to Portland, and I go and I predict it in advance, and then all these stories start popping up about serial killers, human trafficking, SOAR maximum, and a cop gone rogue after he impregnates a couple women that were younger than the legal age. He goes nuts. He doesn't want to go to prison. He kills them all. He goes on the run. He kills himself in Oregon. Alex Ansary was right. Alex Ansary called this, and more is coming. Much more is coming. And when these men lose everything, And when the grid goes down and they pump up testosterone, there will be some fucking going on, and I will not be partaking of it. If you think that I'm projecting or something or living out these primal fantasies through my broadcasts, you are demon scum. You are, especially if you know you're kinky as fuck and you're hiding it. There's nothing wrong with that. I told you what is wrong is the pornography that depicts human trafficking and kidnapping people overseas. What's wrong is the depiction of murder in adult content. What I'm not criticizing is your freaky deaky wiki adventurous nature. Get over it. And your perception of sexual healing. The overall sex industry in America is corrupt, and it's very revealing that people will go and support Sound of Freedom, but they won't show up in my audience, and the female audience will evaporate and completely take off once they are directly called out to show me that they support what I'm doing. Okay? Rambo 3 coming to a Substack membership director's commentary style video near you soon. Sign up soon on Substack, $8 a month. You can do it. I literally went the other day to Burger King for my double cheeseburger at $2.99. It's showing B 99 cents for that. And I look up their menu going, wait a minute. Yeah, there's combo here is for $11.99. My memberships, folks, I'm not being insulting. My memberships at $8 a month, I just jack it up. And people can bounce if they don't like it. It should be $11 a month, $13 a month, $15 a month. No, we're going to jack it up later. If you guys got to bail, you got to bail. Inflation's real. Rent is real. Food is real. Gas is real. These things are real. The donations are going down, but the costs are going up. Folks, you can't fabricate up this timeline. Now, we have news to cover, and it's a bit over the top. We're kind of involved in this. We're kind of like elbows deep. It's very balls to the wall, and I don't know how you're going to take it. But here we go. Here we go. So we covered that. We covered this. We have so many videos out of Texas. The man has been charged who raped the 63-year-old or sexually assaulted her on TriMet, and Eli Ritchie, just so you know, has been exposing the dark side of TriMet. Eli Ritchie, I know our mutual friend may be watching, who is the one of two Portlanders who sends me info that I know of.
Jeff Rott and Kathy Shaughnessy reflect on more than 3 decades of marriage. Together they raised a son, now 29 years old.
I'm going to comment on this.
They describe him as gentle.
We can't squash bugs in the house. We have to take him outside.
Which made his development of mental illness even more startling.
For us, it was just like, what do we do? It was completely blindsided, right? From the son that was studying for medical school to all of a sudden somebody who is starting to disconnect from reality.
Jeff and Kathy's son was diagnosed with schizophrenia. They asked not to name him as he's getting better with care.
I'm sorry this isn't louder.
His symptoms of psychosis started when he was in college. He'd hear things, say people were spying on him. One night he walked from Portland to Newburgh on the highway.
Because they think there's nothing wrong with them.
Okay, we're good.
They think they're just fine.
Jeff and Kathy felt lucky. During some psychotic episodes, their son agreed to stay in the hospital.
He would get to the ER. He would hopefully say the magic words, like, I'm thinking about killing myself. And they would put him into behavioral health, and then he would stay.
But if doctors decided he wasn't a danger to himself or others, and he turned down medication, by Oregon law, they couldn't force treatment. In 2019, Jeff and Kathy said a hospital released their son without warning, sending him on his way with a bus pass.
We had been there every day, his family, who were obviously going to be his caretakers, and they just let him go.
What happened next, they never expected.
We would track his phone. I woke up in the morning, looked at the map, and it was usually over here in Portland, and the map just slid over, and I was like, oh no, he was in New York. So you think about, was he dangerous to other people? He was in complete psychosis and got in an airplane. What do? He's in the city of millions and millions of people in psychosis, and he's in New York City knowing no one, with hallucinations that he's at Juilliard Dance School, that he's a writer for Saturday Night Live, he's dating a supermodel who lives there. Luckily, they found him in New York.
Jeff and Kathy had called New York police. Officers found their son and took him to another hospital. He denied medication and treatment You saw how this process worked in New York compared to Oregon. What do you take away from that?
New York really cared about him. I mean, that's the simplest way to put it.
Jeff remembers a nurse.
And she just kept telling me, don't worry, we'll get him back. And, whew. Sorry.
The facility sent his son to mental health court, where lawyers and a judge discussed involuntary treatment.
And the judge would say, hey, if we give him this medication and give him time, is he going to return back to his normal life? And everybody said yes. And so the judge just said, he needs to take this medicine.
2 months after his son was admitted, Jeff Rott walked in on one of his daily visits, expecting the usual.
He wouldn't recognize me as who I was, and I walked in. And he said, hey, Dad.
In New York, that system, that treatment worked.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
New York law doesn't require imminent danger for forced treatment, a high bar that can be difficult to reach. New York also has more than 2,500 civil beds. In contrast, Oregon's civil commitment law requires imminent danger for a person to meet the grave disability requirement. The state currently has less than 50 civil beds and stopped admitting almost any civil patients to the state hospital over the last 5 years. The result? People with severe mental illness too often only get treatment after they commit a crime that sends them to jail. It's a process that shocks acute care hospital leaders.
If we really are listening to what people need and what is going to help them with their individual needs, we won't see people cycling back through an emergency room.
And family members who've experienced tragedy.
If he wasn't psychotic, he wouldn't have killed Teresa.
Oregon does recognize the problem. KGW's initial uncommitted reporting series in 2022 helped spark a Judicial Department work group that spent the last 2 years studying Oregon's civil commitment laws. Heavy hitters like judges, advocates, and policymakers will recommend changes in June. Oregon lawmakers just approved $85 million to expand mental health and substance use facilities across the state. But based on current need, that's just a drop in the bucket. An Oregon Health Authority study found Oregon needs to add 3,000 residential treatment beds, or about 70% of its current capacity, over the next 5 years. That would cost an estimated $500 million.
Alrighty then, and we will come back to center. So I have some things to say about that. And so we spent a little bit longer than normal, being that we don't have commercials. And so some people, just so you know, would automatically assume that I have mental illness for talking about the archons, because they are of a belief system that, churches can talk about demons, Muslims can talk about the jinn, although they don't really do that. They talk about like dogma and bow to thee and bow to thee. It's very archon-y, but they don't actually talk about the possessions. They're not actually hip to what a few of you that send me news links and whatnot and tips are hip to. Okay, on that note, let me just glance real quick over here at these screenshots. USDA issues national alert on contaminated ground beef. That's interesting that you're sending me that right as I'm switching to a more reputable source of halal meat. Watch for solar flares. Good eye. Erupt from the sun. 44444. Remember I've been telling you 44444? And the other day, this morning, I'm driving by, not in the best mood, full moon energy, but I'm telling myself, not going to cry on the air though, unnecessarily. And I look up and what do I see? 144. But I am 144. But I am. Put them on the glass. I was not into this stuff before. And I've had people warn me, don't get into that numbers shit, or you're attracting a bunch of weird trolls and weirdos that are like driven nuts by numbers. Have you seen that movie with Jim Carrey called 23? Sounds like you, bro. When I hear that, I feel disrespected. And I know that I'm not actually dealing with a spiritual being of light. And so just understand, there's psychics and there's people that are at their level of intuition, and they may be like, yeah, your car needs to be looked at, or yeah, you shouldn't talk to that person on the internet, or yeah, you should just leave the internet, or yeah, you should just, shut up for a while. And they might understand for a while and be able to give tips, but when they should be more critical of, say, the health event, Russia, China, all types of stuff, they should recognize when I am the one that, in fact, has been very accurate. So if I am accurate with a pretty high track record, and I don't get into Pizzagate, and I don't get into Trump worship, I don't get into Biden worship, I know the whole thing's rigged, I know they're both fascists, if you will. I don't use the F word too much, but they are in my eyes. They're beyond white supremacists. They're working straight up by the archons. I don't believe I should light myself on fire, though, and go light myself on fire and do anything like that. I'm in the mood for more tunes. But we actually have plenty of stuff to cover. So, but we were going to talk about this. Okay, so I'll tell you more in the future about what I think about this. By the way, follow me at Substack. If you're watching now, you should all be going to Substack now, right now. Who's messaging me? Who's spying on me? Who's talking to me? Who's listening? Ground Zero, Clyde Lewis. Eek. Unfollow. Prank caller. I know a little something about how judgmental Oregon can be to people of various ethnicities to where they flee Oregon for other places and leave their family behind. Don't ask me how I know this. Don't ask me how I know that New York might actually be more awesome than Oregon to certain people. New York to certain people may have helped, and Florida and Virginia and Washington, D.C., and maybe Philadelphia, Maine, Massachusetts. Folks, there's money on that East Coast. And some people, they fled the West Coast for the East Coast, and they left everybody and everything behind, like in a traumatic way, not in a healthy way. And so sometimes I think the system can be helpful to you, right? And by the way, there's 10 less followers. Are those bots? Those are bots, maybe. Why would 10 people all of a sudden unsub from me? Most people don't engage. Loneliness is a global epidemic. It's time to take it seriously. Hypocrisy. Because when I say that I feel that loneliness is killing me, 2 people in the health industry, they looked at me like I needed to have my meds increased, which I, don't agree with. That's in the past. What I'm telling you is I'm dealt with. So I know that this can be a little bit difficult for you to go through my Twitter feed, but we do it after you sit through 2 hours of me ranting like a Looney Tune. And we go, ta-damn, it's time for us to just do a... This didn't just happen in Palestine. Ukraine, for the first time, has begun using long-range ballistic missiles provided secretly by the United States. So if a Ukrainian Jew and if another Jew, an Italian Jew, both like me, then that's a sign I shouldn't be an anti-Semite and shouldn't just blindly support Arabs just because of my heritage, having Arabic ancestry at its root. But it's not all I am. And Afghans are a little bit different too, and there's a lot of good in them. Although you haven't seen it, but I told you there's some good people that defend their... This is like some rigged stuff. This doesn't look legitimate. This looks like fake news.
What is... white man.
Listen, I understand you're a performative artist. I understand you're trying to make everybody laugh. You've made your joke about your terrible maiming.
Satellite, you're lashing me.
Right. Okay. I'm not lashing you.
This is the third white man to beat me this week.
So we've seen him and Alex Jones do what looked to be a stage interview. Does that look legitimate? Does that look legitimate? You know the answer is no. So that wasn't legitimate when he was on with Alex Jones. That was done to popularize Alex Jones. And every day when you get on Twitter, what does it say? Alex Jones. So if you're a conspiracy theorist and you like Alex Jones, you're not a renegade, and your people and your fan base and whatever you're a part of isn't being suppressed. You are the mainstream. When are you ever going to get this? When are you ever going to get this? Now, you know what's coming for me, and you know what my mom's facing, and you know what a bunch of people are facing. A bunch of people are not going to have retirement because of a number of different factors that probably aren't discussed there. Now, this is deep. We're only going to watch a few minutes of this because we're running low on time. I need to talk over this. We're going to go now in spirit to this.
Having been a mental health provider.
This is about how it says they are criminalizing severe mental illness. In other words, you have to go through the criminal justice system in order to get help. And in my case, I did have to become an F in order to get the help that I needed through the St. Vincent de Paul treatment program and later the Dan Moore program. But later, I did not go through the criminal justice program. I got myself clean and I became an Access TV host and later YouTuber. And I turned away free housing to become a busboy. I worked for years to have my own place until I couldn't afford Portland anymore.
For 40 years, we must face the fact that our great experiment of deinstitutionalizing those with mental illness has failed miserably. We need to admit that
nobody helped me with my issues in Oregon. They illuminated my consciousness and their drugs and their acid to the dark ET problem on the earth. Can you hear me now? And the solar flares.
in order to make
solar
a broad
flares.
and sweeping systems
Solar
change
flares.
that will keep people safe.
Solar
And we'll end on this from Marty. Your story on mental health really brought home how important it is for all of us to get behind the upgrade in healthcare so desperately needed.
Problem, reaction, solutions, what I smell. You just want to drug people up and lock them up. All that, oh, we need to like lock them up. Look at this. Are you watching? We love Trump. I just saw We Love Trump on Twitter. I just saw, Mom, hello.
My heart broke to hear about the story about the mother killed by her son. And they were trying so hard to help him. What a hard story to share. Thank you for making that point.
Now, that's also a part of like the nice guys finish last. All these mommies out there with abusive kids that give them housing. There's lots of that. Have we talked about this? Have we talked
And
about
if you missed
all
any
the
of my
bad
previous
mommies
Uncommitted
out there
coverage, you can catch
that-
up right now in case.
Look at how that kid treated his mom, Leonardo DiCaprio. Like he's like trying to break into her apartment, like demand money. Like I didn't do that when my mom was gone away from me by the time that I did drugs. I never did any of that stuff. And then his mom calls the cops on him. That was a sad movie, that Basketball Diaries. I had a judge tell me when I got in trouble, okay, Ansary, as part of your order for court, you have to watch this movie. I'm like, bro, what are you saying?
KGW Plus, that's our free streaming app available now
Bro,
on Roku.
Basketball Diaries was filmed in New York. That's not my story. Like, you need to know like why someone's using, and you can't scare them straight with a Hollywood movie. But Requiem for a Dream is scarier.
Amazon Fire and Apple TV. And if that doesn't work for you, we have a new land.
Oh God, Roku TV will make you mentally ill. You see, this guy's promoting nonsense.
Plus the cord, that baby cord went around their neck.
Video sent to
Zionist
KGW
Jews.
from a bystander shows the moment first responders got to their tent.
Look at the stuff that's trending in real time. It's just it's mental hospital
I said,
shit.
No, he was bleeding a lot. I said, you need to go to the hospital.
12 days later, the baby is still in the hospital. Doctors could not give us an update. The mother is back on the streets. We met her, but she did not want to talk with us on camera. Youssef showed us the lining of their tent, still stained with blood. He tells us this was not the first time she gave birth on the streets.
Now, you do understand that in order to be housed or get on housing, you have to be on the streets or apply for housing while saying you're homeless. And you also have to get mail while homeless and a phone. So they make you go through loopholes that are unrealistic. So people that are on drugs, that are not spiritual, some of them that have not evolved beyond racism, even though it's a woke city, racist Nazis, as one ex-homeless person tells me. So an ex-homeless person talks to me, and another person started messaging me who said when he came to Portland, excuse me, that he did spend some time in a shelter. So it's possible that he has housing too. I'm not a fan of Brandon Farley because he's into the Trump thing, but Brandon Farley did make some good videos. He's bipolar, or claims he is. I don't like his politics, and he was rude to me once in the comment section, but Brandon Farley does make some interesting videos, and I do monitor his exposés, and Antifa did say that he should be killed, but Brandon Farley did do inappropriate things to Eli Ritchie and others. Okay, so now we need to start to look at the unrest now taking place in America. This is not being racist towards black people, nor being in support of the protesters, to just show how they are using incrementally, but this is not new, black officers as like the strong man for the white man system. All right, so this is not me trying to hold the brother down. You know, I understand that there's more black people in Los Angeles and, you know, Texas and certain areas and New York. I get that. However, okay, I'll stop. In the age of the BLM and the right and whatnot, right? We do see people that used to be suppressed or the descendants of slaves holding up the system, but we don't really see the wokers discussing this. But they will fight black cops. They will call them Uncle Toms. They will scream, they will shout, they will this, they will that, but they will not intellectually show, because it will then reflect on BLM being a product of white supremacy. For those of you that are above average intellects, that sees how the modern woke movement is creating more hate, and how this modern pro-Palestinian, which is being motivated by Russia, is going to create more hate of Arabs and Muslims around the world. And I have stood by Palestine for years. It is documented. So let's go. Let's go! I know you're thinking Alex Ansary definitely has to own the let's go meme that's now going viral on the earth. Let's go! Let's go! Solar power, solar maximum, and unrest. Solar Wars 2024-2025. Solar Wars. LA. This is LA. What you gonna do? This is my job. I'm free. So it's not a matter of it's okay. This, we're now going to look at the news coverage.
We've been telling you about large pro-Palestinian demonstrations at UT Austin this hour that have led to many arrests. Joining us live is William White. He's the director of the local Council on American Islamic Relations. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. White. First off, I was going to say the Austin chapter did issue a statement condemning the arrests. So what is your stance?
There's never been any...
absolutely.
I'm reporting on this being part journalist, but the philosopher part of me has never had Muslim support or support from CARE, despite the fact that we have crossover in concerns, just to be clear. So, and I think that it's not narcissistic for at least CARE, if they care about Islamophobia, to know who Alex Ansary is. I mean, to me, come on, guys. It's just common sense, you know what I mean?
Oh, first of all,
for me to like only have a white audience when I'm ethnic, this is like some Mars attack shit. This is some nothing but an archon paradise.
This is abhorrent behavior by
abhorrent archonic gangsters paradise.
Austin Police, Texas Department of Public Safety, and UTPD to march as they did with horses and bicycles and police batons. I noticed that Texas DPS had about 100 rounds of ammunition strapped to their chest with their riot vest on. I think that's just frankly sickening. These are students on UT's campus who are protesting a war in Gaza, just as people were protesting wars in Vietnam in the 1960s and 70s. These students have the constitutional right to protest on campus, in the streets, on sidewalks.
I don't know if a crystal on the computer is ideal.
The University
I was like,
of
wait a
Texas
minute.
would,
No,
deny
not on
that right to them. And in such a brutal and violent way is frankly sickening.
Well, I just want to put it into perspective for our audience. The Council on American Islamic Relations is a Muslim civil rights and advocacy group. So I want to know from you just how effective you think protesting like this is when things seem to us as the audience to turn.
Where were the Muslims when I was protesting the 9/11 lie?
Well, I think protesting is effective. The police intervention by Texas Department of Public Safety, by Austin Police, and by UTPD is what has caused this to be ineffective use of taxpayer dollars. Silencing classroom buildings by non-students, students walking around campus being harassed and intimidated by non-students. That is what has crossed the line for me, is that the University of Texas has not responded to any complaints of assault, any reports of harassment by students or non-students on UT's campus. That is what is the real problem here. That is the real issue. And the fact that students want to take their First Amendment right and protest There is no breaking the law while you're protesting. It's either you're protesting or you're not protesting. And you're protesting on a college campus in a public space with public funded dollars while you are a student on campus. To me, that these students would be treated in this way is simply sickening. I invite the audience not...
So what we're able to gather from that is that he's alleging that students then, either Palestinian, Middle Eastern, Arabic, Muslim, or those supporting the cause to shine the light on what's happening in Palestine, are being harassed by who? By right-wingers or cops or plainclothes cops. Here's Gavin McInnes of the right wing. We also told you, like, because of the Russia aspect of it, which is true, we see aspects of the Patriot movement playing both sides. So we're going to see what I feel intuitively. I'm not speaking from a factual sense. I'm speaking from my heart's telling me the truth, actually, in advance. So then I look at the news. That's how this works, kids. Am I on the right camera? Yeah. Hello. I've got the headset on. I look like I'm a friggin' space alien, but I literally have Tangerine Dream going on in the background for this wonderful ambiance at this time. So Gavin McInnes, who played his role in the Trump administration, is seen at one of these protests.
No, get it off. Don't you
I'm going to record it on the... I'll do it with all these people. Yeah. I'm going to record it and then I'll send over
Nori asked me what I thought about the bill to ban TikTok. I don't know about this new bill, but I know what they said before. What I did point out is that Nick Fuentes is defending TikTok, yet supposedly you would think the right wing would be against China. They actually have a common enemy, and they both engage in anti-Themism. What is this guy smiling about when they've been charged with rape? There's a lot of this going on. Moving on. This is another example of... so, I'm not a cop sucker, but this is the type of Mike Bluehair stuff. And the stuff that I criticized back in the air that led to Mike Bluehair developing a resentment against me. It's people harassing cops and threatening cops that have nothing to do with these wars. It's the same thing with people like bothering Wheeler and going to his house and this type of nonsense. What do they have to do with what's happening in Gaza? It's so sad because I don't support what's happening in Palestine, and yet they're destroying shit, threatening these cops because they're cops. Go ahead.
Kidnapping someone! This is kidnapping! Fuck you, pigs! That's illegal! You can't do that! That's illegal! You're breaking the law! They're breaking the law!
So, yeah, New York is an area that's had my focus for a while. And I always wanted to go to New York and not so much live in New York, but I've always wanted to party in New York, for those that don't know. There's actually many people that would think that they would know this. No, I actually do want to hang out in New York, but I've had some concerns about New York and its energy for a long, long time. And I do believe that my reservations with regards to visiting New York are warranted in light of the direction that New York... I would not ever recommend that someone travel when they're of a depressed state of consciousness. I would not assume that if you travel... Look... We love Trump, trending with We Love Trump. They're forcing this to trend so that people click on it. And I'm snapshotting this. That's what I'm saying. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Okay, so someone's offering to provide some exposure.
30. Meanwhile, the Council on American Islamic Relations chapter in Austin has condemned the arrests of students. In a statement, the board chair says the right to peacefully protest and express dissenting opinions is fundamental.
All right. So we're going to take a closer look now at this unrest. There's a lot that I retweeted. It's not in order, so please forgive me.
No, get on the ground. I was moving. Lay down. I was moving.
So I did want to go to New York, Austin, Seattle, LA, San Francisco, Costia, San Luis Valley, Florida, other places. Border. I'm curious about what's happened at the border, but I don't know. That would be dumb. For what purpose? Mexico. I've been curious. Never been, except with my dad once. But not with all that stuff happening there. But if you're in Mexico, let me know. You can at least talk to me. You can talk to me and say hi. Now, this is allegedly a terrorist working with the IDF. This is being shown on TikTok, but TikTok is controlled by China. So it doesn't mean it didn't happen. It means that China is playing the role in showing you the truth so that you get angry and play your role in, the takedown of Israel, as they try to reenact biblical prophecy. Yep. Jack Shields posts lots of good stuff, but he really hates immigrants and anyone Muslim, but he's so in defense of Palestine, and he's like an MMA guy, so he's another one of these fake tough guys. Tell him I told him. You tell him. Ansary knows the real Jack Shields. Oh, MMA, 5-time world champion. Yeah, so tough, but your brain has got silly putty in it, buddy. It's got silly putty in it. Yeah, you might be able to knock me out and eat me alive, like Mike Tyson. Your buddy probably. They will send in but I can outthink you. And maybe you can't take me out as fast as you think if I have proper training from a real master who's willing to, push me to where I go the distance. They will send in the National Guard because a few hippies are protesting genocide in Gaza. They won't send in the National Guard to stop millions of illegal aliens and drugs from flowing across the border. So you're like kind of playing both sides there too. If someone's intelligent, they can look at that as both sides. But I hear you.
Information on what you're seeing right now. But again, Austin, Texas, live pictures coming in from the University of Texas.
I mean, we should say something. You know this very well, and John hinted it in his remark. Also, I mean, people think of Texas. Yeah, they think of the South. They think it's a pretty conservative place, and as have been pointed out, these protests so far that we've seen have been largely confined to these big East Coast, West Coast, northern universities. But it should be pointed out that Austin, University of Texas Austin, is a famously liberal campus.
Okay, they arrested a Fox reporter.
Fox 7. Fox 7. Yeah, what's your name? Carlos. Carlos, what do you think of this?
Where's Alex Jones?
They were pushing me, and they say that I hit an officer. I didn't hit an officer. They were pushing. You know what I mean? They were pushing me.
The cops set this guy up. According to observers, he didn't do anything. They pushed him.
Has this ever happened?
Crackdown.
No, this never happened to me.
As predicted on Coast to Coast by Alex Ansary.
Yeah, I told them that was the press. This one says I was hitting an officer. I was not hitting nobody. You know?
Just freaking incredible. You can't fabricate this timeline. Where is Alex Jones? Sitting from his Hummer watching tranny porn? I'm sorry. All right.
Who are you with? I'm with Fox 7.
There you have it.
Fox 7. What's your name?
Sounds like Alex Jones saying, "What's your name?" there, but it's not. It's got that raspy voice. Here's the wide lens. This is like me reporting the old days in Portland. I like this. I'm glad I showed up today, and you too. You get a gold sticker. Look, listen, if anybody out there has literally got money and wants to give me free stuff, to give free stuff to the audience, I'm not giving you anything, Alex, but maybe I'll give you something to give your audience. Let's do that. Let's do a raffle for my audience. Give away a solar power generator to the 100th caller, to the 100th like. Make sure you guys hit that like button. That's right. Hit like. By the way, like, share, subscribe, and comment. I don't have a comment moderator, but one day your comments will show up once we get that taken care of. We got to prevent the black magic attacks. You are nothing. You are nothing. No, I'm something. And if you're something, why don't you try to rescue the women of the future from the evil demon forces that are coming after them, whether you view it as government, left-wing, right-wing, Biden, China, Russia, Trump. You all believe you're under some sort of threat. So you all believe that there's some sort of like perversion going on in society. Then, you know, why don't you do something? But no. People have their reasons. They don't want to upset Daddy Satan. And I'm here to tell you, no, you need to like tell him no more, no more. We will be recycled into your higher form of purgatory hell, no more. We gotta get out of this place. If it's the last thing we ever do, we wanna get out. This is Australia. Vinny Eastwood didn't want to come on my show, but he did time allegedly for a COVID protest. Trouble is, he's a douchebag. Vinny, like Alex Jones and others, became a mean man to me. But I used to really like him. Elementary school teacher accused of assaulting student on school grounds. Now, was it a little hanky-panky or was it like a left hook? I was thinking she knocked somebody out. She's got that look like, I will kick your ass and you're, yep, She wasn't going to take that anymore. Like, yeah, she's got that. She's got the look. She's got the look. Folks, we're doing this in one swoop, no editing. We'll do it live. UT Austin. Again, more. Like, everybody move. You are under a trance. Move, 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 move. I gotta get some sound effects. They claim to have sound effects on this music board that don't exist. Move. Move. Okay, those on the left say move. And holler in the air. Put your hands in the air like you just don't care. And now everybody on the right say move. Move. Now left, move. Left. Move. 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 There's a big moo and there's a big cow energy down in Austin. I really gotta fly down, and it's too bad none of you live in Austin. It really is so sad. My email is soarstorm333@proton.me. Once you learn how to do what Bull Young learned how to do at the end of TC 2000. This is what the bombs have done to a little girl. I'm not going to assume this is fake. Sorry, but it's not graphic violence of... They're saying that all these stores have bioengineered food. They put a lot of them in the ghetto. Teen arrested after punching woman. We don't need to watch this. Stealing purse at pharmacy. Is this another anti-white crime? Inquiring minds want to know. Because that's what I'm my spidey senses go, yeah. Nothing but a gangster party. I'm really impressed by the lack of audio. Oh man, I'm sorry. This is what's happening, guys. Women are under attack, and it's not racist to say that. And look at what they're doing. Look at, this is what's happening to people, and this is the mind control and the algorithms, and places like Seattle are horrible places. She's trying to get her stuff back. And I also dealt with this stuff in Portland when I needed marijuana. This is so horrible. This woman needs to have men in her life, period. I'm not wrong for saying this, and I'm not a misogynist. Okay, there needs to be. This is where people are not being fair necessarily to the Islamic world when they want to keep track of their women. Sometimes it's a safety issue. Sometimes it's not always about control. For wanting to know who your daughters are with, where they're going, and what time they're coming back. And so a big part of the deception in America is that men that want to know where you are and this, that, and the nature, that they are trying to control you. But sometimes there is a real, like, documented history of thousands of years of men having sex with women, women having sex with men, of trial and error. It's been going on for thousands of years, and we've been keeping records. And records show that when you have random sex with random people from random nightclubs, and you don't necessarily take the time to, although Mark Passio is way too mean on survivors of child abuse like myself, and really I had it good, actually, compared to a lot of kids that were actually raped and stuff and had drugs in front of them, done in front of them. At least I had the aptitude to overcome, and my mom was not the worst of the worst. But she could have been a lot better. The point is, we are products of our environment, and I was going somewhere with that. But so more goon officers with their batons. Here we go. Obama, Trump, Biden, Trump, Obama, Biden, Kamala, save the brown people from white supremacists, Kamala, AOC. Can I get an Afghan Lives Matter? Rockets thrown. I said, can I get an Afghan Lives Matter? Bottle gets thrown. I thought y'all were against racism. Some crazy Arab throws a shoe. We said Afghan Lives Matter last year. We're on to this. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Yes, we did. No, you didn't. That's what they'll do. If I was to go there, they'd be like, we totally agree with your Lives Matter. This is all in the path of totality, folks. This is it. This is the path of totality. Yeah. I could feel the power. The archons are happy. Daddy like. Are we still live? Have we been cut off? Are we still live? Huh? What? Huh? I asked you a question. Tiger police. Carjacking. Holla. These students are true Americans, says this lady, right? And this is such a legitimate. This is such a real profile. That's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, like I get it, but why do we need to have troll accounts and bot accounts that are like fake Barbie dolls with like 217,000? Yeah, you're not shadow banned. You're not. Now, John Cusack, I love the man. You know, One Crazy Summer, love it, dude. You're so awesome in that movie, so masculine, defending that woman from the bikers. But you're not shadow banned, guy. You have like these people that say they're shadow banned are not shadow banned. It's not just the right wingers; it's these left wingers too. And then we don't have the videos loaded. Those poor horses. We've got video footage of the 4 horsemen in London or in Buckingham Palace or some shit going crazy. Now, even though I said I'm not a fan of David Icke, he's burping out some truths. The bombs are dropped on Japan to give people an example of what the nukes can do, because the cult script demanded the next stage of the Cold War based on the fear of nuclear annihilations. Now, look, "We Love Trump" is now trending. I told you, look, man, God is good. God is great. We'll say it in English. I told you, they control. So one day it's death to America. The next day, "We Love Trump." Now it goes away. Thank you. We just documented that in real time. Boom. Yes. Yes. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Bill O'Reilly. I'm not against what this man's saying or against him being there. I'm just saying the whole thing is contrived.
Most definitely. If the police had never came, we would have followed the schedule set out by PSC. It was a variety of scholastic teach-ins, lunch breaks. It was, study hours on the lawn, a peaceful demonstration. And now that the police have come, it has now turned into like a clash of students wanting our own campus sovereignty and UT Austin and UTPD and state troopers.
Smart guy.
Trying to quell dissent.
Don't disagree with that. The archons are behind it all. An Oregon man was sentenced to federal prison on Wednesday for his role in a conspiracy to torture, mutilate, and murder monkeys. Bravo, Oregon. It's not just the Oregon women. That came from an Oregon woman, though. You understand? That came from a born in Oregon woman. Just keep that. No, wait. That may have come from California, actually. President Biden has now passed the point of no return. To the point of no return. But did you endorse Biden? Did you endorse Biden when Biden was running, Care? Yes or no? If you did, you might be controlled opposition, because you should have known what his ilk was when he was associated with Obama, when Obama expanded the drone attacks. So were you or were you not in support? But they may not have been. I'm just saying, there are some dumbass Muslims that are not very, So let's hear this retard. Let's hear this retard.
It's a good day for Europe, and it's a good day for world peace, for real. This is consequential. I just signed into law the national security package that was passed by the House of Representatives this weekend and by the Senate yesterday. It's going to make America safer, it's going to make the world safer, and it continues America's leadership in the world, and everyone knows it. It gives vital support to America's partners, and so they can defend themselves against threats to their sovereignty and to the lives and freedom of their citizens. And it's an investment in our own security. Because when our allies are stronger, and I want to make this point again and again, when our allies are stronger, we are stronger. I'm grateful to all those in Congress, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, who voted for this bill. It's a path to my desk. It was a difficult path. It should have been easier, and it should have gotten there sooner. But in the end, we did what America always does. We rose to the moment. We came together, and we got it done.
Needs more cowbell. Here we go. Bam, Daily Mail. Okay, down the rabbit hole we go. Where this magical ride is going to end, nobody knows. But this is something to keep. It may have come from David Icke, and there may be decent news at band.video or InfoWars. I won't go there. So, if one of you goes there covertly, I would rather, though, you not be just, do what you do. But you tell me when that guy starts going over line, pushing it, and we need to talk about it. Okay? Because I'm not going to be watching Mr. Jones to know when he starts acting in a super provocative way. I expect you know who you are, buddy, who watches me and him. So everybody, a few of you are like, yeah, you. That's right. You. That's right. I'm talking to you, John, Mitch, Mike, Anderson, Adam, all y'all. An ex-NASA physicist warns cheap satellite mega constellations like Elon Musk's Starlink could disrupt the Earth's magnetosphere. I don't always use that term, but magnetic field, magnetic sphere, exposing all life to deadly cosmic rays. Holy fuck. The grand solar minimum crowd should have been looking at Musk and man-made technology the whole time, not blaming the sun. Alex Ansary was right times 10. Cue the Vegas sound effect. Ding, 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 ding. Folks, we have a jackpot. This dude is righter than even he knows. But God knows the truth, doesn't he? Dr. Sahara Hunt's new study draws on new estimates that Musk's SpaceX is burning up over 2,800 pounds of wireless internet satellite debris into Earth's atmosphere every hour, creating a metal layer of conductive particles in orbit. I was very surprised. Says a physicist, no one has given us research into the acclimation of metal dust. Holy this is like some Anunnaki they're dusting us on this is a holy wow, over 5,500 and almost 505 Starlink satellites. 555. Tens of thousands more are planned. Also, I've said it before. Oh, we got to save this image. This article is for the keepers. We need to start a new website if anybody wants to help me, and we need to catalog news. For right now, guys, I post the news the night before on Twitter, and then I do the morning show like now, but we're hitting 11 o'clock Mountain Time, and then we're going to upload this without editing. How Mark Zuckerberg is reinventing himself. Tucker Carlson, no evidence. No evidence Tucker Carlson is a true follower of God. Particles from these satellites at the end of their lifetime could distort or trap the magnetic field that keeps Earth's atmosphere from escaping. This can't be an accident. Listen to me. If they can figure out how to get to Mars or claim that 10 years ago without proving to us that they can do that, also exposing them then for not being legitimate about what the future entails. I told you that. I mocked people into the Musk before he became a world cult leader and shit. I know how to call him way in advance. I don't know what I am, but I ain't no fool. I'll pity the fool. Well, Mr. T, you don't have to pity me because that I am not. So if they know something we don't know about top secret space exploration as depicted in these stupid ass documentaries with David Wilcock on Netflix and Tubi, which don't even scratch the truth of what's really going on, then they know what they're doing with the space geoengineering program. Exit, move on. Okay? Aurora police say 33-year-old Solomon Galligan walked onto school grounds during recess, approached a group of children, and tried to grab one of them. So Colorado is being infected with some alien energy, and it's not just white people. There are disturbed black people, but also spiritual ones too, that are in that area, that are in Colorado and the rest of the world. But this guy definitely looks taken over. I'll have to figure that out. There's some things I don't understand with regards to this ad blocker thing. And Lars Larson, I'm not a fan of, but I will retweet people that I don't agree with politically. So I've retweeted Trump supporters. Okay, and then I had people defollow me because I had left-wing Biden. So I have Biden followers on Twitter, but not on YouTube. Think of me what you will, but when I heard about murder-suicide cases, I always wished the perpet started with the suicide pact first. The cop, the former cop as he's called, he only succumbed to his cowardice after visiting so much horrific violence on innocent people around him. I wasn't wrong either about the Grand Sora crowd, minimum crowd, ignoring the true effects of the sun on human consciousness and the cycles of war and peace. All right? And then we covered this. We covered that. We're going to go over here real quick. Pull it back to center. All right. We are almost we're at 3 hours and 3 minutes. We're about to conclude. We covered that. We covered this. And we covered everything else. We covered everything that we need to. So, thank you for listening. Now, if you do want to leave a donation, you're welcome to leave a donation, but I'm not going to pressure you to leave a donation. I'm not going to pressure you to leave a comment, but it does help if you leave a like, and it does help if you go to Substack and you leave a like there. And if you know of other platforms beyond Substack and YouTube, it's definitely time for me to evolve beyond those platforms. Till next time, I'm Alex Ansary, reminding you the path to the ultimate truth and place of power, wisdom, consciousness, and salvation from this fallen world matrix still lies within.